Hello there, Pokemon trainers. It's the Pokemon Unite Electrode Volleyball World Tour. I cannot believe I have just said the name of our tournament, but here we are, folks. It is not our normal Pokemon Unite. We're here to play some volleyball with Electrode. Your casters for today is going to be myself, Danalee, and of course, joining me, the wonderful Flavor. It's been a while since we've actually casted together, Flavor, but it's so good to see you again, and it looks like you're dressed for the occasion.
Oh, yes, and most definitely. And today is going to be an amazing thing. Look, just like how you mentioned, this is going to be a little bit different as we are going to be displaying the mode Electrode Volleyball here. It's a mix of fun, chaos, mostly fun. But yeah, a little bit of chaos is going on over here. And most definitely, we are definitely going to be entertained throughout the whole process of this particular tournament itself. So yeah, truly glad to be back here on the Dash to More Functions here on Unite for today.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that we've decided to kind of open things up a little bit. It's not just the usual 5v5, right? We're coming in hot with a Electrode Volleyball tournament of all things, which, breath of fresh air. I think we do like to see new competitive formats, and I think the players also appreciate this too, because we get to try something a little bit different, a little bit new, and I think most importantly, variety. I do think we all left a little bit of variety in our esports tournaments, and hey, if we get to make an excuse to play some volleyball, count me in. So hopefully this is going to be a long form thing for all of us that is tuning in. But if you are tuning in today, Pokemon trainers, thank you for joining us. This is the first volleyball Electrode Pokemon tournament of its kind ever. So it's a bit of a historical moment as well for 2026. But Flavor, we're playing volleyball today with Electrode. What do you kind of think is going to be happening in today's games?
I think that's the great part about this conversation is because, I don't know, I'm expecting, let's be honest here, I do expect some of the GG strats being played out here. I am ready to be surprised by some of the creative kind of draft coming here in the tournaments, and we might just see some funny moments, some great plays being displayed here at this tournament, maybe at the start or probably at the end of the whole thing itself, and that has got to be the beauty of it. But speaking of which, also ladies and gentlemen, to all the trainers out there, if you have not played out this mode in Pokemon Unite, you should, because it's a great time together. I believe that we have not had the opportunity to play together in this mode, Danny.
Oh, you mean like us two? No.
Yeah, that's true, no.
No, it's been a while. We're probably going to get around to doing that. But you know what, though? Today's probably a really great chance to kind of learn how to actually master this mode, so that if we do get into Duo-Cube, we don't, throw the match away. We do like winning over here, so take some notes in case you do want some tips on how to be a better Electrode Volleyball player. But it looks like we are getting ready to move on in today's program, folks, so get ready, because we're going to be playing some hot Pokemon Unite Electrode Volleyball action. Now, if you are new to the game mode, which I think a lot of you might be in case you just play the standard Pokemon Unite, we're going to be playing best of threes. This is going to sound normal. Match duration is only 5 minutes, and it's going to be 3 versus 3. So teams are only going to consist of 3 players. All Unite licenses, health items, everything is unlocked. All items are going to be maxed as well. There are no boost emblems, and we have no Pokemon restrictions. I did double check this for today. So basically, everything is on the table. Now, Flavor, what kind of happens in the case of a draw for one round? What are we going to be basing wins off of here?
Now, ladies and gentlemen, if a match ends without a clear winner when the in-game timer ends, which is at the 5-minute mark, the team with the highest total knockouts actually wins. And if the fourth tie, teams with the highest total damage dealt wins, which will be shown at the end of the match. And if it's still tied, despite the total damage being tabulated, the dice roll in match chat decides the winner. So that is how things are going to roll out here. So from the get-go, you are going to be seeing all mons maxed out here, not only in terms of levels, but everything else. So that's going to be hot from the start.
Yeah, so we are still going to be seeing a lot of fighting in these rounds, because, obviously you want to make sure that if there is any tiebreaker rules that are met, that you should be able to come out on top in terms of your KOs, and worst comes to worst, total damage. Now, the thing that I find really interesting is our stipulation number 2, because, I think we had a bit of a talk about Electrode Volleyball before the broadcast, Flavor. And it seems for the moment, at least before today's tournament, the flavor of the month for Electrode Volleyball is actually defenders, right? A lot of players and teams are really running defenders because they're big, they're tanky, they sometimes have their own self-sustainability, but most importantly, they have stuns, right? Because we've seen in the past where, for example, if you're playing Mammoth Swine, you can Ice Fang somebody out of the Electrode circle as it hits the ground. So I think we're going to be seeing some really interesting things for today. But we do have our brackets on the screen right now. Flavor, do you want to give us a quick rundown for our matches that we're going to be playing on broadcast?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, these are going to be the teams that will be presented here in this match. Now, starting off at the top of the bracket here in the first round, we have Yonip, Mobile Assassin, Eternal Sparkle, HGA, MYPH, TSU in volleyball, and minus Tempo. It will be a single elimination bracket, which means they must win all the matches to make the way to the top and win it all. And due to having 7 teams over here, Yonip will be going straight towards the semi-final segment, waiting for the match in between Noble Assassin and Eternal Sparkle to conclude, to determine who will be going up against them later on. So get hyped, get excited, drop the comments in the live stream comment section below to show support for your favorite team that will be competing here in the tournament. And just to echo back on what Dan mentioned earlier on, there's a lot of highlight going out here towards the defenders. We might be seeing a lot of that, or probably we might just get surprised by a different kind of play style, a different kind of draft, and especially on that setting point on number 2, right? If we're running towards defenders compared to people playing out with attackers, I believe that they are going to be the ones having the edge if we were to go with that tiebreaker point number 2.
Yeah, so is it going to really be the case of defenders dominating the game mode? I think we're going to find out, because we do have professional Electrode Volleyball players playing this game mode for today. Okay, it's not just scrubs like us. We don't even qualify for this tournament, so we're not going to talk about that. But we do have a special interview lined up for you folks as well. So before we jump into our first match for today, we actually have Lance on the line right now. Hi, Lance. Welcome to the broadcast.
Hello.
Welcome to Electrode Volleyball.
Hello.
Okay, so Lance, I have to say, first question I need to ask you right now. How do you feel playing a Electrode Volleyball World Tour tournament?
It's so fun, of course, for us guys. Earlier in the stage, when we're practicing in the boot camp, when we have time to play this game, we will fight each other, and we beat them. And of course, we have community tournament in the Pokémon Unite Philippines, hosted by Sir Bertie. We win that tournament, of course, we're the champion, and it's so fun for us to play this game.
Oh wow, I think that's great. And they have a full bootcamp laid out just for this. The teams out there better be watch out on this, and there are champs hot coming up from the biggest tournaments.
Yeah. So, Lance, I think you're going to have to give us a bit of a lowdown here, because I'm very sure a lot of people are not familiar on how to play this game mode properly. What Pokemon do you think are actually the best performing Pokemon right now in Electrode Volleyball?
I think I can say that because it's our strategy later for the tournament.
I knew this
we
was
have
coming,
a different strategy, so watch out for us.
Okay.
You can just say the other ones, just to throw out the other
You can
ones.
just say Snorlax, I think, at this point. Just say Snorlax, just say Blastoise.
Okay, for me, the best performing is the defender, Tinkaton, because it has unstoppable.
Yes.
So
Okay.
they can't move you.
Okay, that's actually a really great insight. Yeah, Unstoppable is probably going to be very important for this game mode flavor. Okay, Lance, another question here, because you say you're having a lot of fun playing Electrode Volleyball. On a scale of 1 to 10, how fun is this game mode?
For me, it's 100 over 10, I think.
100!
because when the Electrode drop down in the enemy team, it make us fun, like, oh, we scored, that's nice, let's go team, like that.
So I think it's 100 because they're on the winning team. So I think it's a different number altogether. If they were on the other end of the stick over here, yeah, I think that's great. 100 over 10 is just amazing here. But of course, we also want to ask, right? All the matches over here, is there any of the teams competing today that you have went up against playing in this mode?
Oh, we earlier we fight the minus tempo team and
Hmm.
they win just one time out of 5.
Okay.
The confidence in this man is literally oozing in confidence. I love it, Lance. Looking forward to seeing you guys play on broadcast. Now, before we sort of let you go as you get ready for your match, do you have a final message to any of your fans tuning into the show today?
Watch out for our team, and can I do a shout out?
Of course, go ahead.
And shout out to my team, the Code Unknown, to my teammates, and of course to my teammate now for this tournament, KYY and Sync One. For my teammate is Abad and the rest of the team. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Lance. It was so awesome talking to you. Good luck in your matches for today, and we'll have to see what your secret strat ends up being. Okay, Flavor, so we kind of got a little bit of an insider tea with Lance. But he kept his cards kind of close. But I'm excited, you know, he's very excited to play the game mode. They're having a lot of fun, which I think is probably the most important thing with Electrode Volleyball. It's a tournament, but we're kind of here to have fun too. So I'm very keen to see what kind of weird strats is going to be happening in today's games.
Yes, and I believe that it's not just us. All the viewers of all the traders out there are excited to witness what will transpire here in the matches. In total, I believe that we're going to be having 4 matches here in the first round. We have our 2 matches in the semifinals, the third and fourth place match, and the grand finals. We have abundant of opportunities, 8 matches in total to witness all this Electrode Volleyball action for the day. So don't miss out on all this and stay on until the end of the show. So Danny, of course, we talked a lot in regards to the defenders. How about the other mons that is in the ecosystem? So we have our supports, our attackers as well. Where do they stand in this?
Okay, there's obviously going to be a hierarchy of like what's very valuable and what's not going to be valuable. Before that though, very quickly, our matchup that we're going to be watching first is Noble Assassin and Eternal Sparkle, as you can see on the bottom of the screen. So if you're here to support any of those teams, let them know in the comments that they can hear and feel your support. But back to the question though, I think any Pokemon that does not have any kind of stun, disable, or unstoppable is probably not going to be played today. You really want to have a lineup that's going to be able to, you know, help you either stun your opponent to stop them from catching the volleyball, or to put yourself in a position where you're always going to be able to actually hit it. And look at this. Is this an actual mirror matchup?
Oh,
okay.
Wow. Because they're allowed to pick the same mon, so you would somewhat see this kind of matchup, but I would not expect an exact mirror happening.
Yeah, so it looks like we're going to be locking in for Noble Assassin. So it is the Snorlax, Marchamp, and the Tyranitar and Eternal Sparkle. Are they literally going to lock in the same thing? It looks like they are. Item differences. We do have a couple of item differences. The items are gone though. But I did see a difference for the Tyranitars. So we actually have a Rocky Helmet on one of them. The other one does not have Rocky Helmet. So we'll have to talk about items at a later time. I unfortunately did not take a screenshot, but I can kind of see the idea behind these two teams, Flubber. Like we talked about Snorlax. Great defender, can stun, can heal, can displace. So yeah, I think the strat here is probably going to be the Snorlaxes hanging back, and then the Tyranitar and Marchamp's going to be playing very far forward, and block is going to be very helpful here, as you do see the Electrode being pushed to the other side, but it should be defended. The Tyranitar though, Showbiz is taking quite a bit of damage. They're going to be able to defend the Electrode. They will pop it back though, Flavor.
Oh yeah, you can actually see on the other side, Machamp is just staying there right on the goalpost, just making sure that that's okay. You guys out there, you do the pushing and I'll do the defending back here. A different strat altogether coming on from the orange side here, as they utilize all 3 monsters for this particular fight. So quite beefy. Yeah. Everyone looking very beefy right here. No one here on the knockout. I mean, everyone has good defense and good amount of health points going on right here.
Yeah, and I love that. I love how like both teams, Snorlaxes, like they're really utilizing the block, not only to try to block their opponents off of the Electrode, but also using it to ensure that the Snorlax isn't pushed off. You know, so you're always going to have someone there to stand on top of the Electrode. Now the thing is though, the Tyranitar with the Sandstorm is slowly cutting into these health bars, so the damage is being dealt, and the Snorlax, the shielding's not going to come in super handy. It's really a case of can they burn down all of these health bars. And there we go, we do have the orange team being able to send back the Electrode, but Team Blue, Team Purple, they are super healthy and they don't even need their Machamp.
I would love to be this Machamp here. There's a lot of work going on here.
Oh no, they got it!
And they're going to be the first one scoring here with the Electrode for their side. Great plays over here. It's like a 2v3 situation here happening between the purple side and the orange side, but still did manage to bag in a point just for themselves.
Yeah, so really it's the block that's coming in super handy for Noble Assassins to be able to get that first score. Now the thing is though, they are looking a little unhealthy there for Eternal Sparkle. They're losing quite a bit of health and they've lost the Tyranitar. They will at least be able to send that back though, but Noble Assassins playing very far forward and then the knockout.
Oh yeah, and still looking okay. So by the time Tyranitar is back up here from the Pokemon Center, Machamp is also online and back again with this. So as usual, so right now, Snorlax trying to get in position, trying to push away this Machamp away to ensure that he's not able to actually fan off the Electrode away from the goalpost. Probably a different kind of strategy here compared to what we saw in earlier coming on from the orange side. So hopefully this will translate into a goal. But currently right now, 1-0. Still looking for that second point for the purple side or even the first from the orange side.
Yeah, Noble Assassins, they are starting to hold back a little bit. You know, they did lose a couple of Pokemon. Oh, but the block comes in and they do manage to get that score. So Flavor, we had a scoreline of 1-1 so far. So third round, and it's going to be instead a purple team. Oh, the clutch!
I think probably a little bit of a mistake over here, and with just that, in less than 10 seconds, a simple overtake in terms of electric points here for the side of Eternal Sparkle, making them 2-1 here at this point.
Yeah, it's those blocks that are so important for both of these teams. If you can try and push them off that Electrode circle, then you're going to be able to win the round. So you can see the teams, they're both now currently split. Orange getting into position to stop the Electrode. We're trying to see that block, but the Unstoppable from Amberu making sure that he's able to be there to stop the Electrode from exploding. There we go, Orange, it's coming through. Snorlax is coming through as well. Orange side, the Unstoppable is there. It's okay, we've still got time. 1 more minute to go, Flavor, but now the pressure is on Team Purple. Oh, that looks like that's going to be our first round, Flavor.
And that is going to be game number 1. Victory here for Eternal Sparkle with a score of 3-1 in this mirror match. Oh my goodness, here with Tyranitar, we have the Snorlax and the Machamp here from both sides. But unfortunately here for Noble Assassin because they had the lead, 1 point in, but then a reverse sweep coming in from Eternal Sparkle, 3 points back to back to back, bagging the win for game number 1.
Yeah, so it really, okay, I'm not sure about you, but it really did kind of feel like it came down to maybe Noble Assassin just being very, very aggressive and maybe just a bit too aggressive and losing the plot with the Electrode, right? Because the whole point of the game mode is that you're supposed to stop the Electrode from being able to hit, to basically land on your side of the map. And yeah, it seems like for Noble Assassins, they kind of struggled in trying to really prevent Eternal Sparkle from being able to get those scores. Like, yeah, the damage is great for Sherbers. The Tyranitar did an amazing amount of damage, but you need to make sure that if Sherbers is playing super far forward, that your Snorlax and Machamp need to be there to ensure that the Electrode is controlled.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very, very crazy round 1 already. Surprised that we started with a mirror matchup, but I'm pretty sure these guys are practicing against each other, and this seems to be the strat that might be working the most for them.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they will bring to the table here for game number 2. Are they comfortable? Are they confident that they are able to run in a more positive note here for themselves in this game number 2 with the same kind of lineup, or are they going to mix things up a bit? Interesting enough, when they played the Machamp here on the purple side, is that the Snorlax on the orange side didn't really get a good position to actually stop the Machamp from going for defense. So I think this is having a little bit of struggle. Machamp also has great turning rate, slightly better mobility as well, getting in position faster compared to the Snorlax, who can actually do a wraparound real quick. So I think it's great. The change-up kind of works here for the other side. I'm glad that instead of going head-to-head with the opponents, they had a different gameplay altogether here, and it worked out well here for the orange team. But yeah, so as mentioned, it's now definitely looking forward to what else they are going to be bringing in for the next remaining matches.
Yeah, so I do think we might be seeing a little bit of a change up here for our teams. You know, maybe change up in Pokemon. Maybe that's going to be great. Maybe I don't know. I'm kind of wondering if some of the other teams are going to be looking at this composition and telling themselves like, okay, are these Pokemon that we want to play? You know, is this something that you really want to have on the table? Because Snorlax, I think that's a mainstay Pokemon. I think Snorlax is really great. I mean, we saw the power of Snorlax being able to block Pokemon, being able to use Flail to get from one side of the map to the other. If you need to, you have access to your Unite as well if you want to heal and stun Pokemon. So yeah, Snorlax is probably going to be a mainstay. The other two spots are definitely interchangeable. I mean, Lance even said himself that Tinkaton is a really fantastic Pokemon for this, which I would love to see this in action for one of our rounds. I kind of hope Lance does pick that up, but you know, that's going to be left up to the team's discretion if they do want to decide to pick it up. But yeah, a really cool first round. Already we're catching a glimpse of what these games are going to look like today, and they're fun.
Oh yeah, that's definitely fun. And I think all the trainers out there is definitely having the same feeling that we have right here. I do believe that our next game is ready and we're ready to jump into all the heat for this game number 2. So the teams are back once again. So we're going to be having a quick Snorlax here aside. Machamp here being locked in as well.
So Noble Assassin is going to be looking in the same strategy. Eternal Sparkle though, I have to say, would be very interesting if they do decide to change things up, maybe locking in that Blaziken for Alpha Wolf Boy, because just in case anyone missed round number 1, Eternal Sparkle was the team to be able to grab that first round. They have our first Pokeball of the round. We're going to have to see if they can grab that second Pokeball, because Noble Assassins, obviously, they're going to want to try to bring this into a game number 3. Is it going to be that Blaziken? I think this should be... Oh no, they're going back for the Tranitar. All right, back for a mirror matchup, folks.
Oh wow. Yeah, I was so ready for a Blaziken gameplay here. So I guess another mirrors if you missed out on a game number 1. I mean, just because it's a win, game number 1 for Eternal Sparkle, we don't know if Noble Assassin have different playstyles up their sleeves here the next game itself. So yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, so all eyes on where the Electrode is going to be, okay? Because at the end of the day, you win the round if you're able to score those 3 points before the end of the 5-minute mark. And I think Noble Assassin's probably learning their lesson, especially after that round number 1. Now, the thing is, for Eternal Sparkle, they're also ahead in terms of points. I'm kind of wondering how they're going to maybe change things up here to try and ensure that they can finish this set 2-0. Because I have to say, compared to last round, I do think that they're toning things down a little bit.
Oh yeah, I think it's a little bit less aggressive compared to what I saw before. And I think Noble Assassin also want to minimize the amount of errors for their side as well. They really want the win so they can actually make the draw and force the game number 3 on here so they still have a fighting chance here in this match. So right now here, a little bit different. We do see a lot more going towards the left side of the field here for Noble Assassins. So I'm guessing there's a lot more offense coming up from Eternal Sparkle.
Yeah, and Bari was very close. Oh no! Noble Assassins! A little bit too late there. So first point going to Eternal Sparkle. So again, I have to say, very surprising that Noble Assassins, they really seem to struggle to stay on top of that Electrode.
Yeah, and right now, that Snorlax, the anchor for the team, is trying to screen up this Machamp for Noble Assassin side from going on the defense. Electrode moving over here towards the bottom left side here. I do believe that Champ is on the ready as bouncing backwards towards the other side. Tries to go for push. The Champ is still there. Submission and well, just to get him off position here for the next.
Yeah, they're really just trying to sort of bully them away from where the Electrode could be. Luckily, they're able to make it in time. So Eternal Sparkle send it back Noble Assassins away.
Oh, no.
Now, the Noble Assassins, it's okay. They still have the Machamp sitting on their side of the map, so they will have someone there to catch the Electrode. But this does leave our Snorlax by himself on the other side of the map to try to stop these two Pokemon from defending. Now, the thing is, Eevee could be an issue. It's just that it's very hard for Eevee to stop this Machamp if the submission is online, because he's unstoppable and he's very fast as well. And you can see they're trying to go for a double block. They want to ensure the defense is there. So Noble Assassin, they are learning. But you can see Eternal Sparkle, they are realizing that, you know, Noble Assassin, this is a team that rather plays aggressive. And if they're not able to really play aggressive, they actually really struggle to push Eternal Sparkle away from the Electrode themselves.
Yeah, I think this is quite a switch up happening here mid of the game, making a 2v2 situation here on the other side. So I guess the Snorlax noise was not enough to screen away the Machamp as well as the Tyranitar for side. So they decide to add on Tyranitar into the mix towards the left side of the field. So mobility also helps over here. You want to make sure that you're able to actually get towards the scoring area to ensure that you can bounce it back towards the other side. But so far, quite a standstill over here, Danny. 1 towards Eternal Sparkle and 0 for Noble Assassin here at this point with less than 2 minutes here on the clock.
Oh, even using the Unite there for the Tyranitar, so hoping to try and cut through some of those health bars, but just unable to get close because of the block. The Electrode is going the other way now. Just keep in mind, this Electrode is getting pretty fast, so these teams are going to have to pay attention to where that Electrode is going to be. If Eevee is able to time this, he might be able to stop this Machamp again.
Oh,
even
no.
going for the Unite move there, unfortunately, not really going to be able to do much there. So right now, it's just a case of can Eevee do anything, which you can't if the Unstoppable is there.
Yeah, I think it's very tough. I think this is also a very strong ability because you would want to have at least one mon here inside to actually have an unstoppable from your end to ensure that you don't get shoved away from a post right here. 1 minute and 12 seconds here on the clock. Both sides are trying to themselves with yet another point here for themselves, especially Noble Assassin here as they are down by 1 point. Bounce back here onto the left side.
Yep, we've got the Unite move coming out from the Tyranitar as well, really trying to get rid of Noble Assassin. They do get the 1 knockout though. We still have Eevee trying to block away that Machamp, but he's unable to get the stun off, and the submission speed is there. So this Machamp, the defense is there, but Noble Assassin, they have to figure out a way to score a point, because if they're not able to score a point, we run out of time. It's going to be Eternal Sparkle to be able to grab the round.
Oh yeah, and they don't have much time going on right here. We have only 30 seconds here on the clock. They have to make something happen. They might need to play a little bit more aggressive or take a little bit of risk over here to bag in that 1 point for themselves. Now it is going to go over here to Azalasa once again. What is going to be the play over here? The Snorlax with the block that's all pushing away. There's 2 mons here from Eternal Sparkle. Still holding strong to their side. They might just secure this. We have only 5 seconds on the clock. 4, 3, 2, 1.
And there we go. So Eternal Sparkle is going to be able to grab round number 2. Now, we do want to just quickly apologize for our broadcast information earlier on. So originally, it did label Eternal Sparkle as our winner for game number 1. It was actually Noble Assassin. So this set is now a... Oh, okay, sorry. All right, so we're getting confirmation from production again. So Noble Assassins has won this round as well. So this means it's a 2-0 victory for Noble Assassins. We do want to apologize, folks. We are trying to just sort out our graphics, but the information now is officially correct. Noble Assassins won round number 1 and round number 2.
Oh yeah, so that is a 2-0 victory here in the best of 3 series. Congratulations here to Noble Assassin as they'll be moving forward through the bracket towards the next round in the semi-finals. And of course, great gameplay here from Eternal Sparkle for that play. I mean, just like what we shared earlier on as well, we did not anticipate a double mirror match happening. We did thought that probably Noble Assassin was thinking of actually playing that Blaziken here during the draft, but instead they still want to run with their comfortable draft here with Tyranitar, the Snorlax, and the Machamp, and then they did translate into a victory once again for them here in this match.
Yep, so congratulations to Noble Assassin, our first team to make it through. So they're going to be going into our semi-final round. Unfortunately for Eternal Sparkle, their run in the tournament is over because this is a single elimination tournament. So congratulations to Eternal Sparkle, you made it this far, but until next time, you know, there's always going to be a next time. Hopefully they get their revenge in the next tournament. But this does mean we will be continuing on with our tournament format with round number 3, Flavor.
Oh yes, that is true. But so far, yes, with it is somewhat the kind of gameplay, I mean, most T-Strat gameplay. I just didn't foresee that we're going to be seeing all beefy mons here for that matchup itself. I thought there's going to be a little bit of mix of some spacers going on, some attackers, but I guess everyone's just comfortable going full the fantasy, full the game. The Tyranitar play here, being the anchor for the team. I mean, you can play it differently. It's either you anchor yourself with the Snorlax or you anchor yourself with Tyranitar, and the Snorlax is going to be the one going on the offense and pushing away the opponent's defender on it. So, or should I say, the goalkeeper on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, both the composition that we kind of saw in our mirror today, it's pretty solid. You've got a really great defender in the Snorlax who's able to help displace with the block, can also use Flail to move around the map, Unite if you want to have an extra stun. The Tyranitar, I feel, is fantastic. It does passive damage whenever it uses a skill. You have the Sandstorm ability, which cuts into the opponent's health. It goes through shield, by the way, very handy against those very shield-oriented teams. But naturally, tanky Pokemon can do a lot of damage on its own too. But the Ancient Power, I feel, is really where the strength of the Tyranitar is, because when you're charging up the Ancient Power, you're unstoppable. So it's a very great Pokemon to not only get to where the Electrode Circle is going to be, but you don't really have to worry about anything unless you're going up against a Pokemon, maybe such as that Buzzwole, that can pull you out of the unstoppable. That might be one of the few cases where you say, okay, if there's a Buzzwole on the other side, maybe there's going to be a little bit of hesitation in my choice of Pokemon. And same thing with Marchant. You know, Marchant does the same thing. Just having the submission bonus movement speed and being able to throw Pokemon all over the place if you need to. Yeah, just really great choice of Pokemon, I feel, overall. I hope this is not the only Pokemon we're going to be seeing today, okay? Because we got a mirror matchup for our round number 2. Would love to see some more variety. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some extra very cool strats shown later for today, but yeah, our first match of the day, mirror matchup. I wasn't expecting that, honestly.
Yeah, I think most of the things that we've shared here on that particular match, there's a lot of the space things. There's a lot of push, there's a lot of shoving Pokémons around, going on right here. And a little bit of mobility does help, especially when you look at the health items over here. Most of them will play around X speed, they play around the eject over here just to make sure they can get themselves in the position that they need either for offense or defensive purposes right here. It depends on how you really want to navigate things as well. You see a number of times, I like the point when you talked about the Tyranitar, right? It's a little bit different than Standard Unite where you can easily disengage and really you don't want to deal with Tyranitar here. But in this particular mode, most of the time you have to stick around, you have to be there and man up against the Tyranitar in the face. So most of it he's just going to stand still, be at the goalpost and screen you out, deal you damage at the same time. So it's very, very tough one. There's a lot of love going on for this mod here in this particular mode and others that we have not witnessed yet. So yeah, pretty excited for what's coming up next.
Yep. Now, speaking of what's coming up next, we do have our next 2 teams ready to go. We have HGA versus MYPH. So that's going to be our next matchup. Look forward to that one, folks. I'm looking forward to seeing what Pokemon's going to be appearing in this matchup. I think we're going to be seeing some repeats. You know, I think Snorlax is a mainstay for everybody. I don't see that Pokemon going away anytime soon. But the supporting cast with the Snorlax, I do think is going to probably change team by team. You know, I think there's going to be different play styles. Some teams want to play fast. Some teams may want to play a little bit more, I guess, defensive. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what else we're going to be seeing for our upcoming matchup, aside from the 3 Pokemon that have appeared on our broadcast so far in our 2 games.
Oh yeah, that is true. And I think that all the trainers out there are just ready to see something different. I've also seen games where you actually ran an Umbreon just to get a hold of some of the key mons with other side, just to ensure they're not able to actually get to where they need to be. So rather than space it's more like a pull. I've also seen plays like Dotrios playing Drill Bad, just showing mons around away from areas. There's also Crossel plays. There's also, of course, we don't have to start on this, Blastoise with Surf as well. Together with Slowbros also do wonders over here. So I think the fun is that you're not just limited to the fan base, but the variety of other mods that can just work in this matches. But of course, Danny, we're back again here towards the bracket so that everyone has a good idea on where all the teams stand here at this point of the tournament, as Noble Assassin has just concluded their match against Eternal Sparkle with a 2-0 victory, and they'll be going up against Yonip later on in the semifinals. And coming up next, as mentioned just now, will be HGA going up against MYPH in a best of 3 series here at the first round.
Yep, and then after HGA and MYPH, we're going to be jumping right into Sue in volleyball versus Minus Tempo. And after all those games conclude, then we're going to be jumping right into our semi-final matches because we're doing everything in one day, folks. So don't go anywhere. But if you do need to grab maybe a drink or a snack, quickly go grab that now, but just as we are getting ready for our 3rd matchup of the day, folks, because we're going to be here for, we're not going to be here for super long, but things are going to move pretty quickly. So yeah, go grab your stuff now if you do want to grab it. For anyone that has just recently joined the broadcast, however, though, here are the match rules, just so you know what is currently happening. All games that were single elimination best of 3, you lose your match, you are out of the tournament. Now, because this is Electrode Volleyball, games are only limited to a 5-minute duration. 3 versus 3 matchups. Everything is available. All Pokemon, all licenses, health items, everything is there. Everything is max level as well. And we do have tiebreaker rules in case we end with a very tied round. The first stipulation being whichever team has the higher KOs. If both teams have the exact same number of KOs and the exact same score, then we're going to go to stipulation number 2, which is whichever team dealt the highest total damage dealt. And let's say, okay, by some miracle, we have tied in 3 stipulations. We're going to our final tiebreaker rule, which is going to be a dice roll. But personally, I don't think we're going to be going that far. I'm pretty sure the damage dealt is probably going to be maybe the furthest that we're going to have to go for today. But I think realistically speaking, I think we're only going to go to stipulation number 1, which is the total KOs.
Yeah, I was about to say that what are the odds of the amount of total damage up to the single digits are equal, and then we go to stipulation number 3, and I mean, what are the odds, right? But it's great. I think the production team, the event organizing team ensured that this could potentially happen, and just to be safe than sorry, we made sure that we have faced all scenarios in the whole matchup.
Yeah, just cover our bases. We don't want to run into any issues with our teams. So yeah, at least you all are in the know as to what is playable and what isn't playable. Every single Pokemon is playable. It's just a matter of, is everything going to be played, or are we going to focus on a small subset of Pokemon? Which so far we've played 3 Pokemon only. We have not deviated away. But
not
I
much
guess
going on.
Yeah, not much going on, but we did get a little bit of insight, I think, into one of the teams. So in the case of Noble, I think it was Noble Assassin, they actually highlighted Blaziken and Serena. So these might be other Pokemon maybe that they consider for future rounds that they might be able to go for. Serena's an interesting choice, very agile Pokemon, really awesome Unite that can lock down a single Pokemon. The Blaziken's a bit of a weird one because Blaziken isn't as strong as it used to be, just because it doesn't have access to Unstoppable anymore with the overheat. That was something that made that Pokemon very attractive in regular Unite because it was a great secure ability and was also really difficult to pull it out of Unstoppable. Now that it's not Unstoppable anymore, that it's a lot more vulnerable to disable. So I don't know about Blaziken making an appearance today, but Serena possibly, but we'll leave that up to Noble Assassins if they do want to try and run that.
Just be on the lookout for Noble Assassin just pulling out one of those mons here as one of their hidden cards here. It's either that or they're just playing with us and just trying to keep us on our toes, for no good reason.
Possibly.
Possibly. Yeah.
Okay.
So I have faith.
Yeah, Flavor, we do have a update, I believe, from our admins. So apparently for our 3rd matchup, we're going to have a default match point to MYPH as HGA failed to come back in time. So I think the team is actually away and they have not been able to make it back for their match. So we're just going to double confirm if this is going to be a single point or if it's going to be the set. I do believe this is just going to be game number 1. So we can still have a game number 2, but that's going to be assuming that HGA will be able to make it back in time for the match. So at the moment, MYPH, because of that default round, they're going to lead with 1 point.
Yep. So hold on to your horses, ladies and gentlemen. More updates will come in very, very soon. But yeah, so speaking of which, I think I'm ready. I'm ready to be entertained, to be surprised with this draft. Like the one you brought up in Blaziken. I think I remember I saw one of the draft here when I had played Electrode Volleyball. It was a Talonflame Fly. So instead with good timing, because you're not able to actually hit the Talonflame at any point, right? It's a good timing, you're able to actually land and dissipate damage. Also, the Unite is also good at the same time as well. I think there's a lot of communications, a lot of timing is needed here when playing this particular. Very, very small margin of error is needed. If not, it will result in a point here for your opponents.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought up the Talonflame, right? Because the fly strat is legit. The only thing, I suppose, really holding Talonflame back is that this Pokemon is so fragile. It's a
Very
speedster,
fragile.
right? So very, very fragile Pokemon. And the thing is, like, when you are using Fly to be your guaranteed assurance that you hit that Electrode, or at least like stand in that circle before it flies back to the other side, that you're setting yourself up to actually be caught out by the other team. So I'm not saying that we're not going to see Talonflame, but I think you have to be very calculative with how you do decide to run the Talonflame, because you can't play too predictably with that Pokemon. Speaking of predictable though, the Cinderace pick, definitely not predictable. If anything, was probably the last Pokemon I would have thought would be in this game mode.
Oh yes, this is what we're talking about. That this is going to be slightly, or should I say, a lot different than what we expected over here, especially coming out from the left side, the purple side from HGA here. Serena, the Blissey going on their side. And what's on the right, I think the only difference they're running here, instead of going for the Tyranitar, running with the Alola Ninetales here by NP Rainma.
All right, so it looks like both teams are locked in, folks. So this is technically game number 2 for HGA and MYPH, as round number 1 for these two teams was a default win for MYPH due to checking in issues, I suppose, with HGA. Now, game number 2, it's time to go. Let's see what Cinderace is going to be able to provide from this round, because, yeah, Cinderace is probably not a Pokemon that I would have thought would be very popular, but, you know, looking at how the Cinderace is playing, very agile, right? The fact that you're able to hide from those moves, it's a high damage Pokemon, very agile as well. So maybe the play here really is to just use the firepower of that Cinderace, not only just to block the Electrode, but actually just beat down this Snorlax, you know? Because Cinderace, in the end game, can do significant damage.
Yeah, but most of the time you see here in terms of positioning, the Blaziken is staying, it can't
Look at
go
that.
forward,
Oh.
right? Not really on the front line
Dang!
side, so...
Look at this Cinderace! He's just blazing the enemy team. Like, he's doing so much damage with those basic attacks, and with the support of the Serena as well. And they don't even need the Blissey. The Blissey's playing defense for the team. They end up using this the Snow Glow for these for the Ninetales. They do catch out the Cinderace, so it's going to be gone for 5 seconds. It's going to be up to that Blissey to play defense. But up front, though, they lost the Serena, who did go down to the Alolan Ninetales. So right now, MYPH, they do have a successful defense, but I think they now realize what the strategy is with that Cinderace. Cinderace is going to go all-out attack. If they can get rid of the Cinderace, then really HJA, they're just going to have to sit back with the Blissey.
Oh yeah, I think they had I think from the side of MYPH, they had a great opening earlier on, because not only Serena was down and knocked out, it was also the Cinderace at the same time as well. Lots and lots of power, but at the same time, quite fragile, not able to sustain as much as Ariston. But that's going to work for them, because they are going to be the ones with the point here with the Electrodes with the other side. 1 point here for HGA and 0 for MYPH.
Yeah, so HGA's very defensive playstyle really working out for them. Bliss Assist going to be used onto that Cinderace as they have to get back in time to stop the Electrode. It's going to go back onto HGA's side, but Blissey does have to move. Serena and Cinderace just wreaking absolute mayhem on the enemy team, even using the Unite as well to just damage them and really force them away from the Electrode. Snorlax is able to make it in time with the Flail, but now Cinderace maybe too far forward now in the middle of the fray, but the Serena sitting in the front lines, acting as that barrier, as the defender for this Cinderace. And what, oh boy, this firepower from HGA, it's working out so well for them.
Oh yeah, but I think that they just need a little bit more objective, and they were able to actually down both Snorlax and the champ over here. So I'm guessing that it is working for them, because their strategy is simple: sustain and kite character gain compared to their opponents, who's going to be more towards a lockdown comp here for their side. But so far, things are looking good for their aim. Let's see, just holding on the fort here on the back end, while we see here the Serena and the is doing all the work here at the front.
Oh wow, okay, Snow Globe going to be used there by the Alolan Ninetales. And this Serena trying to find that opening. It looks like the Machamp is going to go down, leaving 2 Pokemon behind. So now if you're MYPH, you've got to play defense, but you also have to find out how do you score a point? Like, they are struggling to deal with the Cinderace. They can't play forward with the Alola Ninetales without the Unite move. They're going to try and play far forward, but as soon as the Electrode gets pushed back to their side, they have to ensure someone's there to catch it.
Wow.
And the Electrode being defended by the Alola Ninetales, but the Ninetales, without the Ninetales, your damage is just not there for the team. And look at this, Serena using the Unite move on the Alola Ninetales as well. Block is there, shielding to keep the Snorlax standing. But this Cinderace, such a nuisance. Ninetales about to go down. A basic attack is going to finish off the Ninetales. And again, MYPH can't leave their side of the map.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a little bit of trouble. The thing is, coming on from the HGA side, they don't really need to score. They have to hold. There's only less than a minute left here on the clock. And if they can just hold on to this 1 point in, they can actually win this game itself for game number 2. In the meantime, Alola Ninetales back at the fray together with the Machamp here, back from the Pokemon Center back to defend. They need to find an opening here for some sort of scoring going on, but there's so much going on in here. All the damage coming out from Cinderace together with Serena.
And there we go. So round number 2 goes to MYPH. Set is now officially tied flavor. And with 20 seconds to go, this is actually going to come down to potentially knockouts here. And the thing is, HGA, we know they have been the ones getting the knockouts back to back to back.
Yep, that's true. And 10 more seconds here on the clock. Are we gonna go towards the tie? Are they able to actually make something happen over here? But then Snorlax and Machamp in position, pushing away. Of course, Cinderace also by over to the other side. And that is it. Ladies and gentlemen, 5 minutes on the clock is over. It's a 1-1 score here for game number 2 between HGA and MYPH.
And as you can see on the screen, if it does come down to our knockout stipulation, because both teams scored 1 point each, that this win should go to HGA because of this insane Cinderace Serena combo that played so far forward and was supported by a Blissey. The Blissey's build for this game, I think, was very, very genius. You had the safeguard there so that if, let's say, either of the Pokemon were potentially going to be disabled, the safeguard was there to cancel any stuns. They also, I believe, had Helping Hand on the Blissey too, so Cinderace was not only fast, but hitting incredibly hard. And look at the damage split between these two Pokemon. 100 for the Serena and 210,000 damage on that Cinderace.
Oh wow, man. This is what we talked about, Danny. I think MYPH kind of knew that they can't settle for the tie because they kind of knew that this will be the result. If such occurrence were to happen, they needed to actually make it a victory, a complete victory here by points and not by knockouts. But with that will make an equalizer here in terms of points between them. HGA with game number HGA here for game number 2 and MYPH here with game number 1, which means that we're going to be jumping into game number 3.
We're definitely jumping into game number 3. That Cinderace pick was fun, okay? Watching the Cinderace and the Serena just go onto enemy territory and wreak absolute havoc on the enemy team. This is a lesson that MYPH are going to have to learn and figure out very, very quickly. They're going to have to problem solve this, right? Like, they need to figure out, okay, what's wrong with our lineup? Why do we struggle to deal with this Serena Cinderace? And I do think there were a couple of problems, right? The Alola Ninetales pick, I do feel, was a little on the iffy side. That was their attacker choice. Alola Ninetales, kind of great if you want to just kind of stay on one side of the map. Not an agile Pokemon at all. Very, very slow. Isn't really able to move around the map very quickly. So if you want to use it to fight on the enemy side of the map, this is a Pokemon that has to commit to the fight and needs to win. Because if it's not winning the battle, it's very fragile, very easy to knock out, even with the Snow Globe. So we're probably going to be seeing changes for the Alola Ninetale. The other two, I think, are fine.
Yeah.
I think it was just the fact that they didn't have access to their attacker. It really limited what MYPH were able to do for that round.
Yeah, I think there were a few instances that because of the lack of mobility from Ninetales, it's not just that, right? If you actually reposition Ninetales in any way, all right, if you shove him away and position him, he would not be able to actually be on time to be there for the goal post. So there were a number of instances where Snorlax had to come back and just defend the goalpost because Olonate was not able to actually be there. And of course, Fragile at the same time as well. That does not have the mobility, which means that wake up against things like Serena and the Cinder Ace. But it wasn't all rainbows and butterflies here going on for the left side of the field, right? Because at the start, Cinder Ace didn't really have good position. He also got knocked out earlier on, but did manage to actually pick things up and all this. But it seems that we are ready here for our third and final game in between this matchup between HGA and MYPH.
Okay, so big changes already across the board. So for HGA, very, very similar. I don't think you need to change the Blissey Cinderace. That was an insane combo. I kind of wonder if they're still going to go back for the Serena. But for MYPH, big changes across the board, right? Because we're going to be seeing a Zeraora, and it looks like we're going to be seeing Venusaur as our choice of attacker here. And this is probably going to be that Petal Dance Venusaur as well. So not only is this Venusaur going to want to be in your face dealing damage, it's going to be very agile as well whilst it's in that Petal Dance.
Oh yeah, so it does have the mobility, can dish out damage at the same time as well. Does this work as well as how the other defenders are? He could actually serve as a goalkeeper and at the same time goes towards the fly line to go scoring goals for them. But ladies and gentlemen, here we go, 5 minutes on the clock and the game has begun. This will be the final game, which means that whichever one of these two teams, either HGA or MYPH, wins this game will win the match.
Yeah, so already we're starting to see MYPH try to put a bit of pressure on HGA. And for HGA, I don't blame them for playing a little defensive. I think they're trying to figure out what MYPH want to do with their team. Although we do have Soft Edge coming in from the top, maybe trying to surprise them in the bushes. But Bluebit is going to focus on staying with that Blissey. We do have a bit of a jump there from that Cinderace, is able to escape from the Zeraora. Oh, but there we go, the block coming in clutch for MYPH and scoring them their first points for the round.
Well, MYPH is here to play a quick first point for them in less than a minute here at the start of the game, and we'll see what will happen next. A different outcome compared to what we saw here in the previous game itself. So as usual, just like before, the Blissey here going on as the goalkeeper for the other side.
Oh,
here
Rain Mama.
Venusaur here with Petal Dance, and is going to be down here for the count just for a while. Oh, it's going to be the one traded off here for their side.
Ooh.
And not only that, that's also going to be a point for HGA, tying it out in between these two teams.
Yep, tying it up perfectly by playing hyper-aggressive, meaning that MYPH, they had no Pokemon there to defend the Electrodes. And it looks like now MYPH, they're looking to try and do the same thing themselves. Very, very low on the other side, but we see the Bliss Assist has been used on the Serena. So Serena does deal a little bit more damage here. That's going to be used. They tried to push out the Venusaur, not going to be successful. This Serena thinking of applying pressure to the Venusaur, but the Giga Drain is keeping it up. Cinderace, though, being an absolute nuisance. We do have the Snorlax there to try to protect the attacker. And right now, we do still see MYPH being able to successfully defend. Jalopy, though, playing very far forward on the Zeraora, but super low will get knocked out, though. And that leaves the Snorlax. Oh, but the block! They don't make it in time!
Oh my goodness. This is what worrisome. I thought that MYPH was going to struggle here in that particular trade-off, but instead they found an opening and managed to get their second point in here. And they're currently in the lead, Danny. 2-1 here, and still 2 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock. No room for errors, no more room for mistakes on this side of HGA.
Yeah, so Serena realizing the issue for the Zeraora, forced to use the Unite there, so at least they have a little bit more breathing room. But you can see right now, though, they're looking to try and apply some more pressure far forward. This Venusaur super low, but is still somehow surviving. We have Jalopy trying to take out the Blissey. Serena's here as well. They're able to get the defense off, and we do have that Cinderace coming back into the fray. And we do have Venusaur. Oh, the block!
What happened?
They grab it! They weren't able to make it in time. The block from the Snorlax stopped them. And that's going to be it. MYPH win the set 3-1.
Wow, that was so fast. MYPH coming up on top here, 3-1 score against HGA with the draft. The Venusaur the Zera Aura and the Snorlax, and it worked. I did have my doubts, I have to admit, over here, especially when Bluebird on Series was putting pressure here on Rain Mama, but he was struggling to sustain. But as soon as there's a lot of pressure to his scoring, Rain Mama was able to just keep holding on and get in place to just go for a little bit defending for himself. Yeah, congratulations to MYPH for winning not only the game number 3, but also the match here in the first round.
Yeah, MVP to Flatty on that Snorlax. I think it was for 2 of the points. He was the reason why HGA was just not able to stand in the Electrode zone. And so that's the power of Snorlax, folks. There's a reason why this Pokemon is appearing in every single matchup, and it's just because Snorlax, it's got everything you kind of need in a utility Pokemon for this particular game mode. Survivable, it's tanky, it's annoying, can displace Pokemon, can block Pokemon as well, and really thrives in an environment where there's just a lot of fighting in general. Like, that's where Snorlax really wants to be. So MVP to Flatty, big reason as to why the team ended up winning that round. And because of that, that means MYPH are going to be moving into our semi-final round. Their opponent, though, has not been decided yet. It's going to be our next matchup, which is going to be Sue in Volleyball versus Minus Tempo.
Yep, that is right. And just as how we've shared along the full time, and that's how fun this Electrode Volleyball mode is. We see a lot of variety of plays, which is really different than what we saw in the first matchup here in Best of 3 series. We see a mix up of not only defenders, but also some attackers. Speeds your series, Zera Aura in the mix, which really spices things up here in this kind of matchups. Not only relying on the Snorlax defender going off the push here, but also Zera Aura putting on the pressure in terms of damage and just holding on to their opponent monster on the other side.
Yeah, I think it was a really genius pick, because the thing that Zera Aura kind of does that makes it so annoying for this game mode, it's a really great 1v1 specialist. Like, it loves to 1v1, and in a lot of cases, it's going to win those 1v1s. Now, the issue is that its 1v1 target in most cases was that Blissey. So Blissey, very tanky, very difficult to actually take down in a reasonable amount of time. And we saw, right, the Cinderace kind of had to stay back to protect the Blissey.
Yeah.
So because of that, you know, Zera Aura, I think it's probably going to be a pick that we might see a few more times today. But you have to be very aware if there is a Zera Aura on the other side. Like, do you have a Pokemon that's going to be able to play goalkeeper, but also stand a reasonable chance if it gets forced into that 1v1?
Oh yeah, I think the Venusaur struggled a little bit. I think there was, if the amount of pressure that was being brought here in the first game series was being played out in that particular game, I don't think Venusaur is able, although he has the ability, but I think displacements, destructions, repositionings is gonna cause Venusaur some issue. That's why there were a certain number of instances where the Snorlax had to come in place and just be there and bounce the Electrode back towards the other side, because the Venusaur couldn't get in position. So that's a little bit of issue here. Sustainability, yes, but against a Cinderace where he does have distance, so nothing much of Petal Dance can do, no damage contribution, only mobility and a little bit of healing from the Giga Drain. That's it.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the Venusaur's role for this round, originally maybe they wanted to try and fight with the Venusaur, but then realizing how squishy it kind of was in this particular matchup, they thought, okay, you stay back. You just defend.
I remember when the draft came out. Yeah, so I was like, I'll be running a silver beam it anyway. I'm gonna go play with that.
No. Yeah, so as soon as I saw the items, because they had Muscle Band on it, I knew it was going to be Petal Dance. So I looked at that and I thought, are they really going to try and fight with the Venusaur? And then after seeing the gameplay, I realized that, okay, there's no way this Venusaur is going to be able to fight into this lineup. I think if Cinderace wasn't Cinderace, if it was a different Pokemon, if it was maybe, for example, an all-rounder, such as like Machamp or Tyranitar, that's a matchup that Venusaur wants to be in. It was just that because it was Cinderace, which is a 1v1 specialist, right? I think in almost all 1v1s, if it's just basic attack versus basic attack, Cinderace can win those. So yeah, it was a really rough time to be a Venusaur.
I have to agree on this. Yeah, but a win is a win. If it works and translates to a win, I think this is gonna. I think they feel comfortable with it, right? I think it also boils down to the team composition. They feel good with it, and probably they have their own ways on how to navigate around the draft and what the opponent is bringing to the table. But that means that there are a lot of other mons that have not shown themselves here thus far in the first round. And I believe in a few short moments later on, we're also going to be witnessing our fourth and final best of 3 matchup here in the first round between the two teams.
Yeah, so I'm just having a look at any other attackers that we might possibly see for this particular game mode, because I do think there are some Pokemon that we might, that's the quote-unquote might. I know you were mentioning Duraludon to me, and I'm just thinking, I want to see Duraludon. I don't think in this tournament Duraludon is going to be possible to execute. I think there's just too much going on for Duraludon to be that helpful. I would actually probably say like Venusaur probably. I'd say Venusaur probably does what Duraludon does, maybe a little bit better, but even then Venusaur's also not popular.
It's not, and the thing is, it doesn't have the speed. I think I remember when I saw Duraludon plays, the only thing it does is only as the goalkeeper, and that's it, and only relying on the passive ability, which is heavy metal.
Yeah.
So it doesn't get shoved and all that. So yeah, so if you can't move E, I guess there's no way for you to score, you know?
So hang on, I'm looking at attackers. So Armor Rouge, probably not. Chandelure, definitely. Wait a minute. Okay, this is an absolutely ridiculous idea. What if Chandelure, but you use the Unite to make the enemy team blind when they have to defend the Electrode?
Oh gosh.
That's a strat.
Gosh.
That's a strat.
Where is like clowns are so crucial. Like,
yeah, it's just like you turn off the lights when this Electrode's like flying by, like, oh gosh, this is the best Electrode. You see the enemy team just like running in circles trying to say like, where's the circle?
That's sneaky. That's sneaky.
Yeah,
you can always count on Danny to come up with this kind of stuff.
No. It's just like... Okay, so we don't have a Chandelure, but we have a crazy comp coming out from both sides. Snorlax, done and dusted. We know that Snorlax is going to be here. But Umbreon and Decidueye on the same team. I do find that pretty interesting. Going up against a Buzzwole Dragonite. So I'm trying to think, okay, justifications for both sides. Snorlax, we know Snorlax's role for both teams. Buzzwole is going to be playing as that frontline brawler for minus tempo, right? Frontline brawler for minus tempo. He's going to be one to throw Pokemon around. I think Dragonite's role here is really not just to dish out damage, but also have the Unite available in case they need like an emergency backup to catch out the Electrode. Because the Unite move for the Dragonite, you have that global presence to be able to like fly to anywhere on the map. Going to be really useful in those late game situations. Now on the other side, the Umbreon pick, I guess it's going to be a sort of like a supporty Umbreon. It's got Snarl as the ability for the disable. Dragon though, actually going for Outrage on the Dragonite, so it's going to be melee Dragonite for this round.
Oh, Umbreon is not going to sustain all this. It's not able to actually get in position, and that's going to be the first point here for minus tempo. Quick one from them.
Crazy! That was crazy. Dragon's just brute forced into Sue. Everyone was knocked out. There was no one there to defend the Electrode.
Yeah,
insane.
So since Umbreon's alone, so they made it into a 2v1 situation. Non-stop displacements, and you're not going to be coming back. Look at that. Even the Gemini as well is not able to actually do much of it. The Decidueye does not have help to sustain. We'll be back here in the next few seconds.
Look at the damage. This Dragonite is ripping through Sue. And for minus tempo, like, they just need to leave the Snorlax behind. They don't have to do anything because Sue, again, they just can't defend against this very strong, tanky, high damage frontline from minus tempo.
Well, minus tempo from the get-go is carrying their fans over on the opponents. I'm guessing this kind of composition, this long-range position compared to Decidueye and the loss of Umbreon is not really kicking in. We don't see any of this being reflected in this particular match. So this Buzzwole is just pushing and bullying people around here in this face-off over here. Although it's a 2v2 situation, Umbreon's getting pushed out non-stop.
They're having to use a Midnight Prance as well. And they don't have anyone to defend. They don't make it. Minus tempo. Clean 0-3 sweep for the round. Oh my gosh. Dragonites. Buzzwole.
That was brutal.
Okay, the thing is, genius front line. They didn't even need Kurub. Kurub just sat back. He was like, okay, guys, I'll leave it up to you. It's just going to be Illumina and Dragons doing all the work. And then on the other side, okay, I can see why they struggled. Fair enough, okay? Decidueye, you're an attacker. The problem with Decidueye is that it's really difficult to play Decidueye if you're up against an enemy team that can kind of just bypass your front line, because Vertige, I think that's how you pronounce the name, Vertige by himself was not going to be able to stop a Buzzwole and a Dragonite, right? Like, there's only so much you can do as a Snarl Umbreon. And then even the other side Snorlax was like, I can't sit here and defend my team. Like, how are we going to score points if we're just going to play 3 versus 2 defense? Like, they had to make something happen. It's just, how could you get past these giant bodyguards from the enemy team?
I did not foresee to actually see any Decidueyes in any of the Electrode Volleyball. For the reason is that usually in a standard Unite, you would need to position yourself in a position where you would not get caught by the opponents. But right now, if Umbreon is getting displaced, if Snorlax is not even in position, right, you can't afford to actually put your body on the line here at the goalpost, because look at this, you are going up against a Dragonite and a Buzzwole. They are going to bully out on lane. If you don't get bullied out of the post, you are going to get dumped outside the Pokemon Center, and that's it. You're not able to dish out damage and all this. So positioning, the thing is, you can't be too far off, because somebody needs to go defend, right? Umbreon is already struggling. So he's like screaming for help, and Decidueye is not in the position to actually do all this. Yeah, so but of course I don't want to dismiss the whole Decidueye thing, but I think the Umbreon is not enough to go up against what the opponents was bringing to the table here.
No, definitely not. And a lone Umbreon, like, I think you needed the Umbreon and the Snorlax to be there. But even then, it's like, if you're playing defense, you're not going to score points, right? Because, you know, the enemy Snorlax is just there sitting in the center of the circle. Just doesn't even have to move, you know, because it's basically free to defend. So big changes. Probably not going to be Decidueye going into this next round for Sue. The Umbreon, I kind of feel like the Umbreon might be changed as well. But the question is, what do you change the Umbreon with? Like, what are you pairing with the Umbreon that's going to give you that very, very powerful duo? Because I kind of think like they're probably thinking, okay, we need something big and tanky that is going to have a good chance at actually fighting into Buzzwole and Dragonite. Like, you need something that's high damage, late game scaling, because everyone's level 15, right? You need something that's like great in the late game that can compete with essentially these late game monsters, Dragonite's late game damage and the crazy control coming out of a Buzzwole.
I really thought that the Umbreon, I mean, like, I wouldn't have placed the Umbreon really on the defending side or just, you know, holding on to it. I thought it was going to go on the other side. So if they go against Snorlax, you can actually put with the main loop, right? Just put him there so he's not able to actually respond towards the goalpost. I mean, you can expand Big Jack or even the Axe Speed, but then, you know, very limited uses. It's going to be on cooldown as well. So it wouldn't last very, very long, but that's not really the case. So instead, they play the Umbreon here on their own goalpost. Yeah, you cannot do much, right? You're trying to pull the other side, and the other side just pushing you away inside. It's not like you're locked up together with the opponents. It's different case altogether. But yeah, still big kudos for them for bringing a different kind of playstyle here on the table, but there's still game number 2. There is an opportunity for them to come back with a different draft altogether here in this game number 2.
And look at that, Sue says we need a Buzzwole. So we've got Rakta locking in the Buzzwole for themselves. I'm keen to see what Touch Me and Vertige is going to go for their pick for this, because minus tempo, you don't change a thing. It's not broken. It worked. It was absolutely insane.
They are broken.
It's Sue. And look at this, right? So Sue, we've got the Snorlax, totally fine. I think that's a better choice than an Umbreon. This time it's going to be Tyranitar, and I do think we could maybe see Tyranitar coming in clutch to try and really fight into the Dragonite. The only thing is, this is X speed on the Tyranitar, whereas it's X attack on the Dragonite. So there is probably going to be a case of maybe even Dragods being able to out damage Vertige on that Tyranitar.
Oh yeah, most definitely over here. So it's different because before this, you don't see anyone being able to actually put in that pressure towards a Tyranitar. So this could be a different game altogether. So right now, this is insane. A lot of heavy hitters going on for this particular match. A good mix of defenders into the mix as well. So this might not be the same game what we saw in game number 1. Looks very balanced. It looks very balanced, and we'll see how things execute. Tyranitar here on the top left end, on the goalpost here for the side of TSU in volleyball, minus Tempo also playing once again the Snorlax on the other side.
Yeah, so you can already see big changes in the way these two teams are playing. But again, they push them away. And minus Tempo with just one move, thanks to Illuna, is able to take game number 1 of this best of 3 point round. Oh, and again!
Not again!
Illuna! You are insane, my man!
Illuna, stop. This is... Somebody stop. It's less than 1 minute of the play. Like 2 points in already for minus Tempo. TSU in volleyball needs to make something happen over here. They're not able to drive away this Snorlax, this 3-man defender here on the other side of the goalpost. Here comes Snorlax pushing them out there, and that's going to be the opening and the point here for TSU in volleyball. The one they're looking here, Danny.
That's what they did. Like, that was the right play, right? You have to preemptively block them before the Electrode is there. Like, throw them out of position. Illuna trying to go for her dirty tactics again. Rakdos here, though, pulls out Kurov, and they manage to tie it 2-2. We have a battle here, Flavor. One more point. It could go either way.
Oh wow, going full of fans here coming off from both sides. Tyranitar holding on the ground here for the side TSU in volleyball, pushing over towards the other side. And of course, Snorlax is unstoppable, bouncing back towards the left side of the field. Here comes the bus wall, but the Tyranitar is already in position, pushing it over to the other side. Remember, the next point will determine the winner for this game number 2. Another one more time, a little too late here coming from the Dragonite. Of course, Snorlax once again in position here for the other side. Little Snorlax managed to get in that area.
So close every single time. You can see Tempo. They are trying so hard to pull through out at the last moment. They get it in. No one's there to defend. It's minus Tempo coming in and sweeping the round. It almost could have gone both ways. Okay, it could have almost gone both ways, but minus Tempo, so creative, so proactive in their play, and a lot of the plays coming in because of Illuna, the Buzzwole pick. So annoying.
Oh, it caused a lot of trouble here for the side of TSU in volleyball in both matchups over here, able to actually make it work with this composition. I think that shout out here for Touch Me as well from the Snorlax managed to get in time. Wild Buzzword from Illuna here pushing out the Tyranitar. He was able to actually make it in time here towards the circle area for the goalpost and push it over, but unfortunately that's not enough, and still point over to the side of minus Tempo. That was a beautiful game here of Electrode Volleyball here in Pokemon Unite.
No, that was fun. That was a very fun set. That, especially this last round, very close. You could see that Sue, they were learning Tempo strats, and they almost had it themselves. It was just that final moment. I think maybe Sue getting a little too caught up in the moment, trying to, get rid of minus Tempo for when the Electrode goes on their side. They just kind of forgot that, oh, who's playing defense, So, very unfortunate that we're not going to be seeing any more of Sue, but if there's another Electrode Volleyball tournament, Sue, we want to see some more of you guys. I want to see some more. You guys almost had it. So close.
Love the draft, love the game, love the energy that they're bringing into that particular match itself. And just like what Danny said, I'm going to echo her on. That's that we would love to see more coming off from them. All right, a great game. 2-1 result coming on right here in the best area. And with that concludes our final match here in the first round of the tournament. And coming up later on after this will be the semi-final segment, followed by, together with the third and fourth place matches and the grand finals later on at the end of the evening. Who's going to come out on top and become the winner and champion of them all this and more will come out later on, Danny. Now, Danny, so far, first round, we with some great Electrode Volleyball games. Any takes, my man? Anything that caught your attention here from what we have witnessed?
I think moving on, we are going to be seeing Snorlax, Buzzwole.
Yeah.
I think that third pick is going to be the X factor for every team, whatever the third pick ends up being. I don't think there's like a Pokemon that you have to have yet, but we might find it. We might find out very soon.
Yeah.
But we do have our brackets ready and updated, folks. So let's see what our semi-final rounds are going to look like. So as we get ready for our semi-finals, our matches are going to be Yonip versus Noble Assassin, and then after that, we're going to be playing our final semi-final matchup, which is MYPH versus Miners Tempo. Winner of these two best of threes are going straight to the grand final, and the losers will play in our third place playoff match off stream. We will not be broadcasting that match, unfortunately, so that will be happening off stream for our teams that are not in that grand final. But grand finals are going to be fun, you know. Everyone that's won their matches, you can tell they definitely have practiced. They're very, very seasoned Electrode Volleyballists. I want to see what craziness is going to come up next. Like, are there going to be any new Pokemon? Is there going to be the Aces coming out? Are we going to be maybe seeing some really, I don't know, silly stuff? We're getting pretty deep in the tournament, but anything goes, really.
Yeah, probably some secret strats which are not being played and dealt yet by any of these. Most probably some of them are probably just hiding some of the cards yet for the next remaining round. But things can get a little bit tight and they can't hold them for too long, as there's only 2 more phases here in the tournament. And speaking of which, I love the conversation we mentioned about some of the mons that we might expect in most of the matches. I think so far Snorlax has been a staple. I mean, we've seen Snorlax in every single game so far in the first round. Probably still getting picked here in the semifinals, the grand finals, but whether or not they pick for every single game, or probably going to be seeing a different mix altogether, we don't know. And which is great. I mean, all the trainers out there are in the same position, as we don't know what to expect here in the next remaining matches.
Yeah, look, I think it's good that we don't know what to expect, because we might be in for a bit of a surprise, you know, with these choices. So yeah, Snorlax and Buzzwole, I think these Pokemon are going to be mainstays. We might be seeing a lot of these, but anything else, you know, I think it's just going to be a little bit of a surprise for us. But we are going to give our teams a bit of a small break before we get into semi-finals and finals, because once those begin, we're going to be going right till the very end. But before that, though, we are going to have a quick break. So trainers at home, if you need to do anything, go do it now. Snacks, toilets, break, but make sure you're back in 5 minutes, because when we come back, we're going to be jumping right into our semi-final matches. It's your 2 casts for today, Danielle and Flavor, signing out, but we'll see you guys in 5 more minutes for more Electrode Volleyball action. We'll see you all after this. Bye, trainers!
Welcome back, traders, to the EOS Island Arena. You're back together with me. My name is Flavor, and alongside the incredible Danielle next to me, we're your casters here for this tournament. We're absolutely thrilled to be back to talk more volleyball, Electrode Volleyball here in Pokemon Unite. Hopefully, you guys got yourself rehydrated and get yourself reset here for more volleyball, Electrode Volleyball action here as we are about to witness this semi-finals. Danielle, welcome back here to the desk.
Yeah, so we had a very quick 5-minute break. Teams are going to get ready as well. Quick water break. You know, it's a little bit hot here at the beach. They're playing, I'm kidding, we're not actually at the beach, but I mean, the Electrode Volleyball games have been pretty hot so far. So looking forward to the next upcoming matches, especially the next best of 3, because this is going to be the first time we see Yonip play. If you're wondering what Yonip actually is, it's just Pinoy backwards. So playing up against Noble Assassins, that's going to be that matchup. I think that one's going to be really fun because we saw Noble Assassins play and they have a very, very interesting play style because they have a very good balance of defense and attack, but when they go on the attack, it's really hard to get them off you.
Oh yes, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you missed out on all those actions happening on in the first round, this is the updated bracket of the current status quo of the tournament here for the Pokemon Unite Electrode Volleyball World Tour. And just like what Daddy mentioned as well ago, in a few short moments, we're going to be witnessing the match between Yonip, which we have not witnessed any kind of playstyle coming up from them yet, up against Noble Assassin, and followed by MYPH up against minus Tempo in the next best of 3s here in the semifinals, and followed by the grand finals later on to close our show for the day.
Yep, so we are basically halfway through the tournament already after just finishing our first round of games. So it's just going to get more and more competitive as we continue through the tournament, folks. So yeah, you probably have just a few more minutes because once we get started, everybody, we are going to rush to the very end and crown our first ever champion here for the APAC West division of the tournament, because this is a world tour. This is not just APAC West. We have APAC East playing, we have North America playing, we have everybody playing in the tournament. So yeah, if you liked the broadcast for today, check out the other regions because different teams, different play styles, different Pokemon, everything is different. Gonna keep it fresh and delicious here for Pokemon Unite. But next matchup, Yonip and Noble Assassin. So Flavor, we've already seen Noble Assassin play. They played our first game of the day. The X factor here is Yonip because we haven't seen them play because they were able to pass the first round because their opponent actually failed to check in this morning.
Yeah, that is true. That this could serve as an advantage for them as they have not shown anything yet from their end. Who knows, this surprise factor could just topple over whatever the Noble Assassin will be bringing the table here for this particular match. And we're not wasting any time over here as we're going to be jumping into the game number 1. And this is going to be
Is that a Pokémon? Yeah!
Yes. Not locked in yet. Is hovering over. But yeah, that looks like a Pokémon here on side of Yonip. But they have locked in that Snorlax and Buzzwole thus far.
Okay, I hope this is not a troll. I do. This is going to be a pull. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, we got a Pawmot. This one's pretty interesting because we very rarely get to see Pawmot at all Unite, so I'm glad to see it. Also, our prediction of Snorlax and Buzzwole being the mainstay picks for the rest of the day, locked and loaded, right? Like both teams lock and loading their first 2 Pokemon. It's that third Pokemon that's going to be the X Factor. An interesting choice here because we have Blaziken as the final choice for Yonip.
Oh wow, so we have not really seen this. We saw Senior Ace gameplay going on, but Blaziken, this is going to be the first year so far what we're seeing here at Electrode Volleyball for the APAC West. And things are going to go really, really fast over here. Blaziken dashing forward here, going up against the Buzzwole on the other sport. She has the power one. Oh, it's struggling to actually get in the position that he needs.
Dang, look at that Pawmot just really putting some work onto the Buzzwole. I think you've also got the knockout too. Look at this Pawmot! That's going absolutely ham! And KS on this Blaziken as well. The team has had to completely back up because they're afraid to fight into this. They're able to get the Electrode to go to the other side, but dang, this Pawmot already just putting in the work.
Oh my goodness, it may look like a 1v2 situation, but putting all the work because they're more focused was getting in position, which means that this Pokémon has free range in doing all the attacks going in at this point. And of course, you see here, Blaziken trying to make way. He does not have HP here to sustain, and that's going to get poured over here for Yonip, here for game number 1.
And I really think it came down to just the fact that this Pokémon pick, Noble Assassins, they're being burnt down because of all this damage. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Pokémon might end up being a mainstay as well. I have to say though, really cool adaptation for the Buzzwole, right? Because we very, very, very rarely get to see Leech Life on Buzzwole. Normally it's superpower, but Leech Life is going to come in super handy because if you connect that, not only is it going to heal, but it really has a very long cast time. If you're hit by the Leech Life, you're basically stuck there until that Buzzwole's finished with you.
Yeah, so and the duration is also quite extensive, so we have to be very, very careful here at the same time. But back into all the heat of action here, our X Factor Pokémon here for the side of Yonip so far is working. Buzzwole here on the other side of Noble Assassin is down for the count, and back here to this Pokemon side, they're doing a little bit of healing as we're back in the next 2 more seconds. Both sides bringing on a hit. Oh, all the way back. But even without the Blaziken over there, he would not be able to respond in time to get in position, and that's going to be a point over for Noble Assassin, Danny.
Yep, so it's 1-1. The set is currently tied, so we still have a chance for Noble Assassin to be able to take a game if they're able to outplay Yonip. So, gotta play carefully. Both teams need to pay attention to where they are and where that Electrode is going to be standing. And look at this, the Buzzwole trying to lock them down. But thankfully, though, Buzzwole from the other team is able to make it in time. And looks like Pokémon is going to sit a little further back for the team, right? Realizing that, okay, if we play too far forward, and the next point, again, going to Noble Assassin.
Nowhere.
The game is slipping. The game is slipping, Flavor.
He was nowhere close to the goal post even. So great screening here coming from Buzzwole as well. So going back here, looking for yet another point here for Noble Assassin, but knowing this, Yonip is definitely not going to allow that to happen. And they still need to also score for their side.
That was crazy. Alpha actually almost was able to get them off of that goal zone, but Pawmot's going to be here, going to try and work them down, but I think the jig is up. They realize this Pawmot is actually not as scary as they thought it would be. So Yonip, they're going to have to decide if they want to try and fight this to win, or if they're going to try and just win this off of a very, very long battle of attrition. KS, though, on the blade, gets super low, will get knocked out, but they do defend. The Electrode lands in position, though, and right now you can see KYY really trying to work Noble Assassin down.
Wow, this Pokemon is making plays over here. Not only serving on both on offense, but also the defense at the same time as well. Getting position just in case if his own ally Snorlax is not able to get in position at the same time as well. Doing wonders here, utilizing the mobility and utility and the revival as well for their side. So far here, Blaziken has to be careful. Low on health points here, but able to actually knock out here on the other side. Buzzwole here for Team Yonip. 3v2 situation here. Very close, Danny.
Almost didn't make it. He was able to just make it in the nick of time. So Yonip, they have to do something. They've got 1 more minute to go. They have to figure out either how can we tie the set, how can we get 2 points, because right now it's just a battle of both Team Snorlaxes defending the Electrode, and that Electrode is getting faster as well. So these battles are going to become a lot more impactful if someone is not paying attention, but every single time both Snorlaxes already on the dot, ready to defend.
Oh yeah, and right now doing wonders over here. Force close up to unite here for the Snorlax, trying to ensure that nothing happens away. Buzzwole, despite being low in HP, able to actually get in position. Let's go post and push it over to the other side. Same goes for the Buzzwole on the side of Yonip as well, responding as same as well. Pokémon here far off, able to actually dash forward, gets himself in a much better position. And
20 seconds to go.
The X Factor that he is here for Team Yonip. Where is the opening? Where is the opportunity here for Yonip to get in and equalize the score here at this game number 1, Danny?
Even if they get the equalizer right, you have to question, do they have the knockout advantage? And it looks like for round number 1, it's going to go to Noble Assassin, able to win 2-1 against Yonip. This is just round number 1, okay? So we are not done with this set yet, but okay, the thing is, Yonip, the concept behind their lineup was great, right? Like at the very beginning, Noble Assassin, they were overwhelmed. They didn't know how to deal with Murasaki Bara. But I think after a while, they kind of realized that, yeah, this Pawmot does damage. But if you don't completely engage into the Pawmot, that it's not really that big of a threat. And so because of that, they kind of ignored the Pawmot. They danced around him, instead decided to focus onto KYY and, you know, really trying to play around Lance. And I think the few times where Yonip kind of just didn't pay attention to where the Electrode is going to land, they kind of forgot to go back and defend. So very unfortunate for game one.
Yeah, I didn't really see what happened at that point on the screen, right? Because there's so much things happening. But this Pawmot pick, though, did wonders for although Yonip didn't really actually win his game number one, right? But
look at the damage there. 223k.
Actually, he is almost more than the full Noble Assassin team. Almost. I mean, you're looking at... Wait, I think it's actually more. It is more.
It is more. It's more.
It's more like by an extra 70,000 damage.
So the Pawmot can do damage, right? Like, that's what we're kind of learning for this set. Pawmot absolutely can do the damage. The only problem is that I think this Pawmot is running into a bit of a roadblock, because unlike Cinderace that we saw earlier for today, right? Because we saw Pawmot was really trying to just burn the enemy team down, trying to knock them out so that with less people on the map, that maybe they don't have enough people to make it to the goal zone. It was really, I think after the 2.5 minute mark, we saw no more KOs after that, right? Like, we saw Noble Assassin adapting to the Pawmot play and just dancing around him, dodging him. They also have their own way of survivability too. And yeah, Pawmot just kind of lost its role after that, right? Its role really was get as many knockouts as possible.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because they weren't able to get that second point to tie the set, they would have won based off of KOs.
They would have. I think that would have answered your question, like if they were to tabulate in terms of KOs and damage points, hands down they would have won. But unfortunately, they were not able to actually find that point to just equalize in terms of the electric points here for that game number one. So yeah. Pawmot here, I also want to add on as well, I do get why they actually left out the Pawmot together with the Buzzwole as well. The ability to just go zip in and zip out here between the opponent's Buzzwole, and at the same time as well, you're also relying on the Revival Blessing just in case if your own ally Buzzwole also goes on the knockout, so you should bring him back into the full fray of things, which is a great combination. I think I just saw one instance of that happening, but I think they got the right mindset coming into this Electrode Volleyball mode here at Pokémon Unite.
Yeah. So, okay, is Pawmot coming back? I think that's what we kind of have to think about going into this next round. I kind of think Pawmot's going to be swapped out here.
Yeah, very high shots. They look comfortable with it. Yeah, they look comfortable with it.
They look comfortable, but the thing is, like, you don't want to just look comfortable. You kind of need to win the round. So, assuming that they're going to try and play a similar Pokemon to Pawmot, not playstyle-wise, maybe just a high damage-dealing attacker that, I guess, can threaten their opponents. Like, what would you really go for here? Anything that can, like, kind of dance around their opponents, but also deal the damage that they're kind of looking for?
Yeah, I mean, let's put it this way, right? I think rather than expecting the Pawmot to do that, I think the Pawmot on its own, presence-wise, both offense and defense and utilities-wise, is already doing its part. I would focus more on the other two ones you want to play out over there. Let's say that somebody want to go with a Snorlax, just hold on, because most of the time you see Pawmot running over towards the right side of the field, just dishing out damage, trying to go for scores, and at the same time being the playmaker, trying to make sure he's able to cover some of the holes on his own goal post whenever their own defender is not able to cover it up and zip in and just save the game. Yeah, which is amazing, by the way. It's not easy to execute. On paper, it's like, hey, all you have to do is this. Yeah, but that was some high-level plays going on.
Okay, just a theory, because I'm kind of looking at our list of attackers. I kind of wonder if Delphox would be a really interesting choice here. It's been a very long time since Delphox has appeared in, a Unite tournament at all.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of looking at the Fire Spin. Like, Delphox's Fire Spin, I think, would be super annoying in this game mode. And also, Fanciful Fireworks, a really well-placed one, that slow can be nasty in the right circumstances. And if you play well enough on the Delphox, that comes off cooldown very, very quick. So obviously it's not going to appear in this round, because you can see we are seeing some crazy draft changes, especially from Yonip, who, they're not going to go for, no anchor for today, sad days. But I do like the alternative, right? So they have two fantastic frontliners, Buzzwole and Marchamp, and they're going to go for Inteleon as their attacker this time, which I do think is a great choice here. Because whether you decide to go for Liquidation or if you want to go for Snipe Shot, Inteleon, really agile attacker, has a way to maneuver around the map, long range as well, depending on what attack move you do, whether it is Liquidation or that Snipe Shot. So let's see how this is going to work out for them. Can Yonip force a game number 3?
Yeah, that's true. Now, this is a little bit different compared to the Sudowoodo because he does not have much mobility going on for his side. So hopefully, this Inteleon pick will not backfire here for the side of Yonip. Now, back again here, 4 minutes. As usual, 5 minutes here on the clock. Machamp being the goalkeeper on the side of Yonip here on the left side of the field, and the Snorlax here on Noble Assassin side together with the Blast. So as of course you have not seen these yet, it's pretty staggered. We're going to be seeing a Surf Blastoise or probably
I think it is Surf on the Blastoise. But the problem I'm having, just seeing this Inteleon, it's going to be Liquidation. Oh, we got the first points. Noble Assassins weren't able to get there in time. So, okay, I was a little bit concerned at first because just looking at Mora at the moment, Mora by himself is actually struggling to deal the damage to get rid of these defenders, especially if they stand under the Electrode, because you get that little boost of healing, right? So, but alone, the Inteleon itself is not going to be able to get easy knockouts, but paired with the Buzzwole, you can absolutely make some of those plays happen. Now, it looks like the Electrode will be defended. Now we just have this Marchamp in the Unstoppable, waiting to go for the defense. The Mora, slowly able to chip down, gets the Buzzwole. Okay, plan is going according to plan. They got to keep going with this, though.
Oh, that was a close one. You have to admit, that was a very, very close one. Snorlax was still able to actually split over on the goalpost and going for the fence. And here comes the rollover. Machamp pushing up back on the other side. It's only going to be them as it's going to be Blastoise coming back from the Pokemon Center and back to defending. I feel that Noble Assassin lacking on the attacking factor over here. There's a lot of defending going on, but none of the pushing towards the other side. Meanwhile, Yonip has a good balance of both.
Yeah, so right now we have Yonip kind of defending their honor in this matchup, just trying to keep this Electrode off their side of the map. And Noble Assassins, I think they're going to have to make something happen here if they want to try and tie this 1-1. Otherwise, we are going to be going to that game number 3. But Noble Assassins, when is that call going to happen? Buzzwole just got knocked out. Blastoise just got, so they're going to come back in just a second. But we're halfway through the round. 2 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. They have to figure out a way to either score 2 points or to score another point and to get those knockouts. Oh, but the pullback! Beautiful stuff coming in from KYY on that Buzzwole, pushing Noble Assassin further and further away from a possible game 3.
Oh wow, so here's the Noble Assassin sending over the Blastoise instead of the Buzzwole to actually going for scores. Different than what we saw previously, but still, like I said, still have not found the opening that they're looking for here to get points of their own for this Noble Assassin. Yonip, 2 points up, looking for another to seal the deal here for game number 2.
Yeah, ideally for Yonip, they want to try and grab that 3rd point as fast as possible. The Noble Assassins, though, they have... Oh, the push again! KYY! What a nasty Buzzwole this man can play. Noble Assassins get assassinated in round number 2. 3-0 victory here for Yonip. They're going to a game at number 3, Flavor.
Yeah, I'm glad that they draft Inteleon. I'm fine with this. I'm fine with this draft because at least for Inteleon, despite being fragile, does have the mobility to get himself in advantageous position for himself to dish out damage. And you can see here on the amount of knockouts, not here for himself, for going on the Buzzwole and Machamp, of course, to defend. So him just defending the goalpost here. Doing wonders compared to on this side, Noble Assassin. A different outcome here for game number 2, despite utilizing a draft which a lot would say works well in Unite, but this particular game shows that you don't really have to go with the tanky and needy defender playstyles like this to go in for the win. You can go for the mix-up that Yonip is bringing here, like the Inteleon, the Machamp, and the Buzzwole.
Yeah. So, Noble Assassins. Okay, not a great game 2 for this team, unfortunately. Just really getting thrown around by KYY's Buzzwole. I mean, what can you really kind of do going into the next game, right? Because I don't feel like there's really a lot that you can do to kind of stop Buzzwole from being able to throw people around. Like, that's just what Buzzwole does. So, what's the alternative? I kind of feel like the Blastoise pick didn't feel very good for this lineup. Like, yeah, you're threatening a lot of pushing and pulling, but they didn't really do anything to sort of keep KYY off their back. And I think that's one of the main reasons why the Buzzwole was able to just play so aggressively. Like, they weren't worried about a high damage snipe shot or a solar beam or a Electrode Ball, any kind of like high damage attacking move to threaten a Buzzwole, right? Like, Buzzwole loves games where there's just like slow chip damage because it means he can stay in the fights for longer.
Yeah, and I think that it's quite fortunate. It's very rare to actually see a Blastoise game look like this. You should want to go for a drive, but because the opponent does have good positionings and all that, at one point, halfway through the match, they had to send the Blastoise to go in for the scoring instead of the Buzzwole, but that kind of backfired because the Italian there, I mean, range-wise, you're looking at super long range Pokemon over here up against up close and personal, so it's very, very tough to play. And I think it's the one that you pointed out where the Blastoise gets knocked out here at one point at the bottom side of the lane. Yeah, very tough to actually deal with that. And most of the time in the match, all they did was just fending off the Mons on their side. That's it. Yeah.
So going into game 3, changes. What's gonna kind of change? I think the Buzzwole is probably gonna the Blastoise is probably out for Noble Assassins. You will be seeing a change there. But the thing is, what do you change into? Like, what can you pick? If we are going to go based off of inspiration from other teams, I kind of wonder if they might consider picking up the Dragonite, right? Because Dragonite wants 1v1 melee battles. Okay, that's a Pokemon that does an insane amount of damage, and I don't think Buzzwole is really equipped to deal with an outraged Dragonite. So maybe you can swap out the Blastoise for a Dragonite. Alternatively, let me just have a look. What else has probably worked for damage? I mean, if you're feeling confident, you could try Buzzwole. You play Cinderace, and then you play, I think it's Feint. The second ability for Cinderace, where it is able to evade a lot of attacks. Maybe you can go for Cinderace for this. Yeah, because if you can successfully kite the Buzzwole, yeah, KYY would kind of struggle. So a couple of ideas. Obviously, I'm not the one playing, so I wouldn't say my ideas are solid, but you know, maybe a good possible solution.
I'm also browsing through not only the attackers but also the all-rounders as well, who might just fit the bill on this as well. Not really finding an answer for this, right? I mean, I don't know. I think you need to get creative. I believe that we're assuming that if the opponent, right, Yonip is actually utilizing the same draft, which has worked wonders with them. It's a 3-0 victory. I get you on this. Yeah, I think they feel comfortable with what they ran for game number 2. Very high chance they might just run the same. But unfortunately, time is not of the essence over here, as we are ready for the draft here for the third and final game. The semifinals 1.
Yonip, are we really going to be going with the Articuno for today's game? Because this will be our first Articuno. This is going to be super fun. So we do go back for the Inteleon, but big changes maybe for the other 2 choices. I have to say, really interesting to swap off of the Buzzwole. I actually think the Buzzwole is still a great pick. Are they going to go Buzzwole? We do get the Marchamp again. And we do go for Buzzwole. Okay, so solid picks for Yonip. I don't think you have to change anything. But for Noble Assassins, the alternative choice for them, Snorlax, Marchamp, Tyranitar. I do think Tyranitar is a pretty good option here too. Can actually fight into KYY and threaten that Buzzwole with its Unites.
So this one is interesting. I think that Yonip is sticking to their guns here. They feel that things are already working well for what they've delivered in game number 2, and they want to stick with this. So Noble Assassin also drafting somewhat similar to how they played out in game number 2, but I think it all boils down to the execution over here. The only difference is now they don't have to play around. I think before this, they don't have the Blastoise on their side.
Whoa, really far forward plays here for Eevee on that Snorlax. We saw him last game being the one to really play defense, but this time playing super far forward. But he did take quite a bit of damage. They do manage to chip down this Inteleon quite a bit. KYY thinking of trying to disrupt this Machamp, but very difficult when it is in that submission because of the unstoppable. So I like Noble Assassin's changes, right? Like you can tell they are trying to get the game back into their hands. It's just that right now they're really struggling to control Yonip.
Yeah, I see what you did there. I see what you did there, Snorlax. Unfortunately, Eevee was not able to actually push them away towards the right side of the field here. They managed to do a wraparound and just fan off the opponent's monster here. Of course, the game still continues here, coming from both sides. Look at the amount of damage that Chip, and for the second time already, Tyranitar is down for the counts, knocked out here for the second time, and we'll be back again for the Pokémon Center twice in less than a minute here into the game.
Yeah, so KYY trying to play forward this time, but realizing with the Tyranitar on the field, not going to be a very easy task at all. Did use the Ancient Power, but this time it looks like they are successful in being able to pull Yonip off guard. First point goes to Noble Assassin.
What did I just saw? I mean...
And this is what Noble Assassin want, because right now, if these two teams tie again!
Twice!
Eevee! Coming in clutch! 2 blocks! And all of a sudden, Yonip are in danger of being eliminated. They have to make sure this pesky Snorlax is not going to push them up that goal zone. Again, one more mistake, one more point. Noble Assassin is going to make it through. But for Yonip, they have to figure out a way to score 2 points back to back.
Oh wow, this is not going to be an easy one, especially knowing this is the final game here of the series. So this is going to be very, very troublesome. Looking for 3 back-to-back points, volleyball points. So far, Noble Assassin, they're pitting the Snorlax up against Snorlax, but there's the left side of the field, and leaving the other actions on the other side. Unfortunately, Eevee not in position to push out lands here at that play.
Going to be using the Unite as well. The Tyranitar trying to do the damage, cutting through Yonip, but not enough damage to really threaten them though. But the Dark Pulse constantly landing those. Looks like Mora, he is thinking of wanting to knock out that Tyranitar. Might be able to get an Eevee though, trying to get in a position to stop them from getting on top of that Electrode. Unsuccessful this time. You can see Yonip really trying to lock down that Electrode every time it goes onto their side of the map. You see Inteleon trying to burn down that Machamp, trying to do whatever he can. Even using the Unite move will get rid of that Machamp. It's the Tyranitar left standing. KYY is there waiting to grab him.
Wow.
But the Inteleon, he's been caught.
Oh my goodness, I was just about to talk about the Inteleon just getting in good position, but felt it too fast over here. Meantime, the battles of Snorlax is not over yet. It is literally a battle of blocks. One small mistake here coming on from lads, it is going to cost the game over here, as Eevee is putting a lot of pressure, but he does not have much HP going up on his side. It does require a little bit more attack damage from the opponents. Whoa. But yeah, once again, Lance here pushing them away towards this left side of the field instead.
They really play super aggressive.
Finally.
But we do finally get a score on the board here for Yonip. So we still have a match here, folks. That's 1-2. Yonip desperately needs to force this into a 2-2. Then they might still have a chance of being able to win this best of 3 based off of KOs alone. So for Noble Assassins, if they want to try and win this, they have to play defense, or they need to get a sneaky 3rd score. And with a minute on the clock, this might still be Noble Assassin's game.
Oh yeah, so right now what Noble Assassin is trying to do is that instead of leaving the goalpost only to versus Snorlax, they pit together with Machamp and say they don't need another point. All they have to do is go on the defensive right now, because they know that they're going up against only a Buzzwole. So the Buzzwole can only displace only one of the balls right here. And that is going to be enough. That's it. That's going to be the 2nd point coming in here for Yonip, making it a 2-2 here.
We could be seeing a final score, or we could be seeing a point tie, leaving it up to KOs. We know that if it's Yonip, if it's a tie, it should go to Yonip. So Noble Assassins, they have 20 seconds to somehow score a 3rd point. But can they do it? They only have one Pokemon here. He is coming in to provide assistance. The Machamp can't move because the Electrode is there. The block's not successful. The Machamp having to stay back to defend. 6 seconds to go. Can Noble Assassin do anything?
Oh no!
I don't think they can.
Okay, realistically, we're looking at the points, right? So if we look at knockouts, I do believe it is going to be on the side of Yonip here with 9, 3, and 3. That's going to be a total of 15 knockouts up against Noble Assassin at 8.
There we go, folks. Very, very close matchup. And it goes to show, folks, okay, it's not just going to be a case of who gets the highest score in this game mode. KOs also matter. So you have to think about how your lineup is going to behave when you're trying to get those scores. Because Noble Assassin, they almost had the round. They just needed to defend. Because I think if you recall, Flava, early game, we saw Noble Assassins really throwing bodies into Yonip to get that first point in. And if they didn't have to do that in the early game and had to give away so many knockouts, that Noble Assassins could have also won based off of KOs.
Yep, that's true. And because of that, Noble Assassin can't afford for it to actually go to a tie because of this particular instance. But there's a lot of big shout-outs going to give over here. Evie, that block place pushing up back-to-back 2 points for your side here up against Lance was amazing. Like KY creeping that opening to score a point here for the Yonip side twice as well, making a comeback and also translating into a victory here in game number 3 and also win the series. Is what a play. But kudos both sides. That was S tier Electrode Volleyball plays here, Danny.
Okay, so Yonip surviving by the skin of their teeth will be going into the grand finals flavor. Very exciting, very fun to watch Yonip play as well.
Most definitely.
But they still have to see who their opponent is going to be. And I think this next best of 3, it's gonna be crazy. We've got 2 very, very great teams playing up against each other with some very familiar names on the roster. Not to say that we don't know who Yonip is. I mean, if you follow the Filipino Unite scene, you know Lance, you know KYY, you know everybody on this team. So yeah, it's not a surprise that Yonip was able to make it through. But it was quite a surprise that it was so close.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. I think that Noble Assassin was just a surprise as well. I mean, like, but it was a great game. I think it was definitely, I mean, from game 1 to game 2, it was quite a roller coaster ride for both teams over here, and quite fortunate that only one can make it towards the next round over here. Big shout outs to both sides. Great gameplays, great drafts as well. I think we truly enjoyed the draft that both sides brought to the table. And I also want to give a big shout out here to Yonip. Instead of just being comfortable with the draft that played on game 2, which gave them a very convincing victory, they had no problems just playing out with a different draft altogether. It's either that, or they felt that this other draft, which in their minds could also serve better compared to what they did on game 2. Or I don't know. I think they have a lot of Pokemon pools to be played out here for this type of Pokemon.
Yeah. So we're going to be seeing Yonip in the grand final, but who is their opponent going to be? It could be one of these 2 teams. It could either be MYPH or it could be Minus Tempo. And we've seen these 2 teams play their games already. I don't want to put my money on one team, but I think just based off of the 2 games that we saw from MYPH or Minus Tempo, I feel like Minus Tempo is probably the slightly stronger team based off of how they played their lineups, because dang, Minus Tempo, they kind of ran away with their sets. So I hope MYPH are ready for this.
That on top of how, like I said, like that, and how they ran their stats. I think very fast games and very convincing. Execution was just amazing. But I also want to call out too early as well. I believe that MYPH, who knows, they might just have something under their sleeves here for the semi-finals too, which is coming up very, very soon. I'm very sure it's not just us. They are also watching and tuning into the live stream, and they will probably take some notes over what they saw in the first semi-finals, and probably just apply that over in this game. Same goes also to Minus Tempo or same time as well. So as you can see here, now here the next match, MYPH on the purple side going up against Minus Tempo here on the orange side.
Yeah, so very, very exciting matchup coming up right now. We're just getting the players, we're corralling them into the lobby, we're trying to make sure everyone is good to go so we can jump right into our draft. Any changes to the draft for these 2 teams? I know for Tempo, I think they played the same thing for their 2 games. So it was Snorlax, Buzzwole, Dragonite, I think.
Were they the ones who played on?
Tempo was the one that played Dragonite. MYPH played, oh gosh, what were they playing? They played... oh my gosh, I don't remember anymore. I feel horrible now. Hang on, let me try and see if I can quickly check. I
I'm
don't
not
think
for
it
it all,
can.
yeah. So because we're going through all the matches real fast, right? Compared to the standard 10-minute Unite matches. So this one we only had 5 minutes together. But of course, it doesn't go all the way 5 minutes if any one of the teams do score 3 points, right? So hopefully everybody understands this.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not familiar with the game mode, totally get it. It's okay. We have a very interesting way of scoring for this game mode, so I mean, it's good. The games are locked at 5 minutes anyway, so it really doesn't matter about the score sometimes, as long as you got the knockouts and you have the damage, which is why I do think just damage, like drafting damage Pokemon is still pretty important. It can't just be like all-rounders, all defenders, because if you're tied for points, guess who's probably going to get all the knockouts? And we're going to get the classic combo here for minus tempo. Dragonite, Buzzwole, and Snorlax.
Oh.
MYPH. Oh, MYPH was the one that played the
Venusaur. Yeah, and Rain Mama was the one on the Venusaur as well. So it didn't work out too well for them in that part
It
of
was
the
tough.
It was tough. It was
Yeah.
very tough. So the thing is, since they want to run it again, Danny.
Dhelmise! Oh,
Huh.
wait, no, they... No, no. Okay,
That-
they didn't lock in. I
that-
thought they locked in. I'm sorry. No, no. Dhelmise?
Oh,
Dhelmise? They're doing Dhelmise! Okay. Okay, we're locking in, folks. Dhelmise is going to be on the side of MYPH. Minus tempo looking in the exact same draft that they played in their first round of matches. I have a feeling this might be the most fun game
yeah. This
of
is
all games today here.
This
Flavor.
is Dhelmise's first appearance here for the APAC West. I did check out for the other regions, right? Yeah, so this first appearance, and with this composition to get the Venusaur and Snorlax, we will see if this works for MYPH up against minus tempo. On the other side, they'll run to Dragonite again for this lineup. Of course, top pick here, the Snorlax, together with the Buzzwole.
Okay, so Jalopy is playing pretty deep on the enemy side. You can also see Luna sitting in the bush too, hoping to ambush somebody, but you can see the big respect from MYPH, getting into position as a 3-man team, making sure that somebody is always there to protect the goal from the Electrode. So I kind of wonder, like, is it going to be really this defensive playstyle from MYPH, you know? Because I can see Jalopy's trying to fish for something, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like he's really happy with what he's currently grabbing. Like, Dragods is actually doing a really great job body blocking him.
Yeah, no, I think he's just getting in between him. Also, a little bit of chip in here for his side, but other than that, nothing much so far. But it works. It's gonna be enough. How is all the 3 months on the side of Manu Sample here at the center?
It doesn't matter. A point is a point, Flavor. So MYPH leading with 1 point already, whereas minus tempo trailing by a single point. They're going to have to try and get a point to try and tie things up here. And you can see Luna trying to kick it up a notch. You can also see Dragods coming in, using the Unite as well, trying to jump on top of the enemy team. We do have that Snorlax there ready to block for minus tempo, and now MYPH grouping up together, stopping minus tempo from pushing them off that goal zone. Minus tempo, you've got to do something. We're seeing Unites being used as well. Buzzwole dropping very low. Dragonite's still there in the outrage. Jalopy grouping up with the team, but Eluna, Dragods, they are still healing. They are still battling. Venusaur is down. Dhelmise is low. Even the Snorlax is not going to be too happy either.
Yeah, they pushed out the Dhelmise, but that is still not enough over here. We do see the play, what Dhelmise is trying to do over here, but he is actually expanding his resources towards defending the goalpost instead of putting pressure here towards Rock here on the Snorlax on the right side of the field, as what we saw earlier as well. That is going to be the Venusaur down for the count as well. He's going to be waiting, coming back next 5 more seconds over here. Still managed to push it back. Snorlax on the orange side, push it back once again, and that displacement over Dhelmise will be giving the score over here to minus tempo. Equalize out 1-1.
So what happened there is that minus tempo overwhelmed MYPH. So once the Buzzwole and the Dragonite start to sit on MYPH's side, that they just start to farm them in front of their goal zone. And Rain Mama, unfortunately, on this on the Venusaur, is not too happy in these very close hand quarter battles. He really wants to try and have some distance, even though he's running that petal dance. But the Buzzwole throwing around the Venusaur again. There's the knockout 2 versus 2, but this is not a matchup you want to be in as a Dhelmise and a Snorlax. works. They do defend the Electrode there, but look at this though. Dragon and Elena getting on top of him, and they manage to grab another point. Match point here for minus tempo. It's 1-2. MYPH, they're getting overwhelmed. They have to break through.
Yeah, this Delmise play is a little bit tricky to execute. It's not that simple. And of course, with that block, that anchor shot is not going to latch on over here. And down into the head here for Jalpi. You have to be very, very careful. He's trying to stand in between, trying to be as center as possible, trying to respond defensively and offensively at the same time as well. Trying to pull either the buzz move or Dragon Knight towards the center area. There goes the push coming from Snorlax, doing wonders over here. That does not translate into victory. Venusaur gets in position, but they bullet around here, left, right, front, and center.
Oh, the Dragonite has been caught by Jalopy, so they're going to try and reel him in. But at the same time, though, they're trying to block them off of that off of the goal from that Electrode. But still fighting strong. Dragons finally going down. It's just going to be the Buzzwole now, maybe overwhelmed. They might be able to get Eluna. Rain going to be able to defend the Electrode. This Electrode's getting fast as well. MYPH, they have to try and force a 2-2. They need to actually get 2 points if they want to win here. There goes Poppy. The Dragonite is back. Too much damage, Flavor.
Oh yeah, since the Electrode is getting faster and faster and increasing in terms of momentum over here, it's going to be much harder for MYPH because right now minus tempo, Snorlax in a giant decision with no form of disruption, no form of pressure from the Mice, from Snorlax, or even the Venusaur at the same time as well. But for them, they have to be defending and they have to react even faster than before. So this is a Michelle which forces Lati over here to go on the other side to put the pressure towards the Snorlax at the same time as well. But the point here, 2 for minus tempo, 1 for MYPH, still low at the time here on the clock with 12 seconds on the clock. Can they do this? A few more bounces left. They have not found any openings to make it towards the other side. Only this last play coming from Delmise, and that's not gonna latch on. And I believe that is going to be in. It's gonna end with 2 points over to minus tempo and 1 for MYPH.
So the idea was there for MYPH. So minus tempo, they played their lineup how they wanted it to, which is Kurov sitting at the back lines, just being ready to catch the Electrode for the team. Dragons and Eluna, their job is to basically intercept the enemy team, farm them right in front of their goal zones. That's what they want, right? That's the ultimate goal for this because it's a very strong duo. You have Eluna disrupting, Dragons doing damage. And the problem with the lineup for MYPH, Rain Mama's an attacker, but in a 1v1 up against a Dragonite, and if you're being thrown around by a Buzzwole as well, that's not an easy matchup for a Venusaur at all. Delmise's job, we saw multiple times Jalopy trying to hook in Kurov off of the Electrode circle as he's defending, but you could tell Kurov, he knew it was coming, so he would always have his block up, meaning that he wasn't able to be hooked in.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think, yeah, so the play is there, but it's not that simple, which it kind of forces Kurov to actually go in for the block early, because if he does not get it on time, if it latches onto the mice, that's it. That's going to be goal over for MYPH. So that's why he always uses the early block. Even gets caught after the whole duration, it's okay because Electro has already bounced off towards the other side and he could actually get himself in position once again. What a game that was, Danny. Definitely a different kind of playstyle. Bring out a little bit of flair, a little spice here towards how you can approach in playing the Electrode Volleyball here inside Pokemon Unite. I like the idea, although not really a victory for towards the side, but still the idea is great. But unfortunately, it can only be a winner. Minus Amber here comes on top in this game number 1.
Look, we still got another game number 2, and maybe even a game number 3 if we do see a tie coming into that game number 2. But for that to happen, I do suspect big changes for MYPH in terms of the draft, because they've got to find a solution to deal with that Buzzwole Dragonite frontline in your face fight me combo, because really that's what I'm getting from that duo. And it's so strong. Like, it's so strong, they don't even need the Snorlax to be there at all. You know, Kurov is just watching from a distance.
I worry that although this is the second time we see the Venusaur, right? I believe that the Venusaur was able to sustain much better compared to the first time we saw when they ran it in the first round by MYPH. But the second time, although they did slightly better, but still not enough. Yeah, it's able to actually mobilize itself, but the Buzzwole still doing the same thing. Different team, same outcome, same outlook on the composition. The Buzzwole is just going to push out the Dinosaur, and at the end of the day, it's still going to be one of the defenders fending off the Electrode from scoring from the other side.
Yeah. So I'm expecting draft changes. I'm expecting gameplay changes. I kind of wonder if they just say like, hey, if this combo is so good, like let's just run our own Dragonite. You know, Dragonite versus Buzzwole. Pretty kind of crazy.
I thought maybe they might just want to still run the Delmise, right? I think it can work, but yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. I don't know.
Really.
Yeah.
You know what I actually think would work instead, though? I think if they take a page out of... Oh my gosh, let me check which team did this again. Was it HGA running the Blissey Cinderace, or was that Eternal Sparkle? I forgot which team read this. But I kind of feel like that might be a pretty genius combo, because the move that they ran for the Blissey Cinderace was that Blissey was running Safeguard, a Helping Hand, and Cinderace was running Feint. So Cinderace was hitting hard, but also very evasive because it was super fast, and it had the attack speed bonus as well coming in from Helping Hand, and the protection of Safeguard, removing any stuns that were on the Cinderace. So I wonder maybe that's what Jalopy could maybe consider here, although they have a different decision, a different choice. Okay, there's the Cinderace for Jalopy. Goodra? Are we really going to go Goodra here? Rain Mama's thinking about it. He's like, guys, I'm thinking about the Goodra here.
Ooh.
Goodra's going to be locked in. Okay. Dragon. I mean, this is not normal Pokemon, okay?
Not
so
the Dragon we
does
had our conversations on, but okay.
Yeah. It's not going to do the usual stuff in Pokemon, right? It doesn't matter what type these Pokemon are, but Goodra... I'm questioning things, but I'm going to let it happen. He's got a gold ribbon, so I believe.
You have to be happy with what you're laying down for the draft, right? Yeah, the Cinderace, I think we see this in the Ace place, right? I'm just curious how Goodra would work out up against what Minus Tempo have here. And remember, right now Minus Tempo is only looking for another victory here in this game,
Jalopy.
number 2. All that's gonna be Cinderace down for the count here. Back to the one side here. Very, very close here. Snorlax able to get in position and pushing it out once again. And of course, as usual, Kurov, the Snorlax on the other side, pushing him back again. Why is the Agros on the other side between 3 of the Mons? And he is trying to push all of them out from the goalpost. 1v3 situation here for the side of MYPH.
Yeah, so 1v3. Now, we did see that Dragons was knocked out a little bit earlier on, so it seems like this Dragonite's not going to have that same level of power as game number 1, because Jalopy, you know, this Cinderace's basic attacks are actually doing a number on this Pokemon. Now, the thing is, if you're caught by the Buzzwole, yeah, that's gonna mean you're gonna get knocked out, and all of a sudden, without the Cinderace, the threat of that high damage is no longer there. Look at this! Oh, we almost lost it, but the Goodra was able to get there just in the nick of time to catch that Electrode.
Yep, that Goodra is gonna be there as well, but putting on all the pressure also despite it. 2v3 situation, but Dragonite is gonna be down for the 7th second and make it too. It's gonna be a 1-to-1 trade-off as Cinderace also down and comes back here from the Pokemon Center, leaving the Buzzwole alone here on the offense on the other side up against the Cinderace range and against the Goodra to going for scoring. Goodra in position, able to recover here for the team of MYPH. Back and again here for Kurov.
Oh, there we go. Jalopy caught again. Did use the Yonip before he was knocked out, though. So Rain Mama going to hold the fort down on this Goodra. And I have to say, this Goodra pick, quite survivable, but isn't survivable enough to be thrown around by Eluna and to take the damage from Dragons. Unfortunately, not this time. We'll be sent back to that Pokemon Center. We do have the Snorlax there with the block. Cinderace has been caught. It's up to Flatty to catch the Electrode for the team. Will be successful this time, but its health is waning. It's getting low. They're still somehow sticking around.
Oh yes, sticking around here is going to be Goodra, who needs as much presence as possible over here when utilized here, especially with the Glee Pass. I'm just slowing down everyone over here, but it's not enough. The opponent here from Minus Number is still able to respond, still able to put in all the pressure over here despite making it a 2v3 situation. But speaking of which, Dragonite here down without once again, meaning that Buzzwole alone here trying to make something happen for his side. But is that going to try to take the victory? No, and very close one at this, and it does seem that Buzzwole is going to be down. But that is going to be fine as well. This is going to be important for MYPH.
that's going to be the first score, and maybe that's what MYPH needs. Maybe this is the only score that they need to survive this round and to force that game number 3. You can see Illuna trying to cut into MYPH's backline again, but without the Dragons, he's just not as threatening as he wants to be. And unfortunately as well, because the Gudra has him completely slowed, he has no mobility. And all of a sudden, MYPH, they have their side of the map back in their control, and that's not what Maiden's Tempo wants. They want to have Dragons and Illuna take over that left side of the map again.
Yeah, that is definitely not what they want over here. Now, there's a lot of swap outs over here. There's the Gudra together with the Snorlax going for defense. Something they swap it out together with the Cinder Ace, but because Cinder Ace is down for the count as well, so we have to do a little bit of waiting over here. That's gonna be trouble. Can they respond here? Go down. Says, oh no, he's not able to. That is going to be his movement coming up from the puzzle, making it a point over to minus tempo. Going in it 1-1, Danny.
Yeah, Gudra, just wrong place, wrong time, gets thrown about by Illuna. So we now are back to having a match here, Flavor. It's 1-1. We don't have the numbers, so we actually don't know who's leading in terms of KOs. I want to say it's probably minus tempo because of those early knockouts by Dragons and Illuna, but we're going to have to leave that to the final scoreline. But I think if you're MYPH with 50 seconds to go, if they can score a point here, that might just be what we need to bring it to that final game 3, because right now it's only game number 2. They need at least one more point to secure a game 3.
Oh yes, that is true. And of course, back into the whole thing here, Cinder Ace, a little bit volleyball, actually busting over towards the other side. They send Swords towards the bottom lane just in case, so that in case if the goalpost would be shifted towards the bottom line, he would be ready.
Uh-oh, the Cinder Race right in the thick of it. Jalopy gonna have to run away. His team is there, but look at him. He is so brave, so confident. Those basic attacks trying to shred Dragons. They get it! They got the point that they need. MYPH leading 2-1, and with 8 seconds, I just don't see them being able to score another point unless they make some kind of godly play happen. There we go. Timeout. MYPH forcing a game number 3.
Oh, that was a beautiful comeback coming from MYPH, showing and bearing their facts here in this game number 2. Beautiful gameplay. I think that the Cinder Ace, not normal in any Unite mode. You would say yourself throwing yourself in between a Snorlax, a Dragonite, or even a Buzzwole, but what it plays, serving as a bait, forcing everybody else towards the top side, whereas the goalpost is actually at the bottom over there. And of course, shout out here to his Flatty, great defending together, and the playstyle together with Rain Mama on that Gudra, making the victory for them here for this game.
And if it did come down to knockouts, it would have been minus tempo to win this set.
It would? Wait.
Yeah, I saw the knockout. So I think it was 5 on Dragons, 5 on Illuna. And then for MYPH, it was 6 knockouts for Jalopy, and then it was like 1 or 2 to Flatty and Rain Mama. So it would have actually been minus tempo's game.
But
if it was a tie.
If we were to have a tie in terms of knockouts, it would calculate in terms of damage output, it would actually be towards MYPH instead. Look at it, somewhat almost balanced. Contributors coming in for all those 3 ones, the Snorlax, the Cinder Ace, as well as the Gudra. So very, it's coming from them.
So exciting times are going to a game number 3, and you can already tell, right? MYPH, they learned their lesson after game number 1, realizing that they needed a really good solution to deal with that Buzzwole Dragonite. And the Gudra Cinderace change-up. Okay, I wasn't expecting Gudra to play that big of a role in that particular matchup, but I really think the GUI. I think you mentioned this during the game as well, the GUI.
Yeah, the passive.
Being so annoying for Buzzwole, because we saw Illuna like he was moving at a snail's crawl. When he wanted to be everywhere at once, he wanted to be smacking down Pokemon, throwing them all over the place, throwing them off of the goal zone. But it's hard when you can't even catch your opponent at a walking speed.
Yeah, so I think that is a play. I mean, you would want to get yourself hit to actually proc the passive going on here for the Gudra here. A different kind of playstyle altogether. You could totally ignore and just use the resistance when needed be, only during the scoring parts and all this, but it's not that simple. In the midst of chaos, to execute all this nicely is not an easy feat right here. But yeah, I think I'm just surprised that the whole Gudra draft worked out for them in one list. So we have the Gudra, Cinder Ace mix, At one point when Cinder Ace is actually just throwing himself into the goalpost just to defend when needed be, when Snorlax is not able to get in position and all this. Yeah, but all is well at the end of the day. A win is a win, just like how you said it, Daddy.
A win's a win. We're going to game number 3, and this is really going to be the deciding match. One of these teams is going to make it through to the grand final. The other will have to play our 3rd place tiebreaker match in the lower bracket. Because there is technically no lower bracket. We're only playing single elimination for today. So if you're out, I mean, for this particular game, you're not out, but you are playing for 3rd place. So you still got to play that matchup.
Yeah, that is true.
Your opponent's tough. You're playing up against Yonip, you know? So this is, for these two teams, they're currently playing their toughest opponent yet. Because once they get into the grand finals, that's going to be the raid boss. That's going to be the team to beat.
Yeah, and I mean, so far, going into the semifinals, we see some very, very close games. No easy walk through the tournament anymore over here. Everybody is here, bringing their A game here. And what we're going to be witnessing after this is not only the 3rd game, but also the final game here for the semifinals. Only one of them will have a ticket and head over to grand finals here up against Yonip. So it's going to be a very, very close one. None of them has been an easy walk for any of them in even game 1 or even game 2. That is how close it is in between these two teams. And trust me, for me personally, I don't know. It could be minus tempo. It could be MYPH already.
Well, it looks like we're ready to jump into game number 3, ladies and gentlemen. So let's do it. Game number 3 of our semi-final match. It is the last game deciding set for MYPH and minus tempo. Winner is going straight to the grand final. Loser will have to play our 3rd place tiebreaker match. And look at the changes coming in from both sides. So MYPH happy with their lineup from that previous game, but minus tempo going absolutely ham with their final composition. They're looking at picking Greedent for Kerbal. Things going to go back to Snorlax, safer pick. Buzzwole, is it going to be Dragonite? It looks like they might just go back for their safe words, and that's going to be the case. Mirror matchup from our previous game. It can go in anyone's way. Honestly, it really can. Both of these teams very capable with their Pokemon.
Yeah, they've already gauged what each other can offer here in this Electrode Volleyball. Now it all boils down to execution over here. It is as well as how they project this matchup would be. All this and more will be answered in next 5 minutes over here. I see Snorlax flying over, setting over here behind the Buzzwole here on the get-go already. And of course, but the Snorlax and the good combo working together and pushing the volleyball away towards the other side. But it seems that he's getting caught in the fray and is going to get knocked out, leaving Snorlax and the Guja going on defense.
Yeah, so without the Cinderace, this is where they really want to shine if you're minus tempo. You want to fight as much as you can. You want to try and bully them out because that is where you might be able to get that sneaky score in.
Oh, no. Still going at it right here. So Dragonite returns back into the fight as well. Pushing together, collaborating together with the Buzzwole here. Let's push over to the left side of the field and see what happens over there. I think we're going to see a little bit of action here. But Kurov doing what Kurov does best. Just standing at the goalpost and pushing over to the right side with hopes that their allies into Dragonite and Buzzwole makes something happen. Creates an opening here to go in for the score.
Oh, minus tempo. They are so desperate to make this combo of theirs work, but I think Eluna and Dragods, they're kind of realizing that they can't just do this anymore. They've lost Eluna this time, so now Kurov and Dragods kind of exposed on their side of the map, and you can see MYPH, they're thinking about the idea of trying to contest them on their side of the map. And it looks like they're going to try and do that. Flatty has actually left the goal zone. Going to be leading Rain to sit there. Going in with the Cinderace as well. Jalopy doing insane damage on that Cinderace. Elena coming in clutch on that Buzzwole. Kurov going to sit back. It's going to be up to the Dastardly duo yet again. But thankfully, the Snorlax is able to stay on that goal.
Yeah, this is not easy. You're hoping for 2 of the Pokemons here inside the minus tempo to push away 3 of the Mons on the side of MYPH for a score. Right now, not much offense from the side of MYPH going on for scores. They are hands full, Daddy, just to defend this goalpost from being scored by minus tempo with his duo, and it seems that they are trying to take on here on the Buzzwole here at the top. Luna's going to be down for the count here, leading here to Dragonite, goes for the back by the Dragoff. And Kurov getting position once again. And it does seem this is the top before the next storm coming up.
Yeah, this storm is only going to last 2.5 minutes though, and with no points on the board, this game will go to whoever has the highest knockouts, and there's the first point! It's going to go to minus tempo!
Oh yeah, that's going to be the first one, and this is going to be a huge one because we've seen so much great defense come from both sides. This one point could be the only point standing over here. So what minus tempo has to do is just go to defense now.
Jellopy's going really hard though. He wants to burn down Aluna, but uses the bush to try and lure him in. Gets him very close, catches him, but Aluna will be knocked out, leaving Dragons on his own in the middle of the map. Forced out to use the Unite. Will win the 1v1 against that Cinderace thanks to the bonus damage from the Outrage. And Rain gonna have to sit tight with the rest of his team. You can see though, the Snorlax trying to be again a nuisance on the enemy side of the map. And with Cinderace to join him, this is where MYPH again are gonna try and wrestle control away. Using the block, Kurov though gets in the nick of time to stop the Electrode from landing on their side of the map.
Yeah, look at this. Cinderace is actually on the wrong side of the map over here, but the amount
What do you mean the wrong side? That's where he belongs, Flavor.
Yes, as you're right. He's trying to screen up and putting on pressure over here. Of course, he's trying to keep a same distance over here, putting on as much pressure as possible. And it will work because that's going to create the opening here for MYPH with that point. As the goalpost is shifted towards the top end of the map on the side of minus tempo. 1-1, and he takes are not over yet.
No, it's absolutely not over yet at all. So the game is now officially tied back to the KO stipulation. Whoever gets the most knockouts will win this. Oh, but it looks like Dragon's to be taken out. Jalopy on this Cinderace. Absolutely on fire yet again. And look at this creature not even having to move. There goes the Cinderace though, will be taken out, and Luna is low, but it's just a Snorlax though. So Flatty, I don't think is going to be able to get the knockout. But we still have 45 seconds left to go, Flavor. Time is of the essence, and I do think, if I recall correctly, Minus Tempo might be the team leading with knockouts. So you're gonna have to try and get this final point in if you're MYPH.
Yep, and that is not going to be a positive. They must make sure they're able to get 1 point up over the opponents over here in this game number 3, if not, and that is exactly what they're looking for here, and that's going to be point over here, but instead that was for MYPH side.
15 seconds! 15 seconds on the clock. Minus Tempo need to do something. They have to score a point. They have to tie it. They have to leave it up to KO. But it's slowly floating to Curl. With 7 seconds left to go, can this Electrode hit the ground? The whole team is going. It's the last hurrah. Can it touch the ground? No! It's gonna be MYPH going to the grand final.
Oh wow, what a game that was to end this best of 3 series. Both teams putting in their best foot forward, but unfortunately it will only be one way forward, and that team is going to be MYPH with a score of 2-1 here for game number 3, and making the score 2-1 in this best of 3 series.
Hang on, I'm trying to math these knockouts here. So Minus Tempo had 13 knockouts. MYPH, they have 13, so we would have actually been tied in knockouts if both teams were tied
for the first time.
Yeah. So we would have been left to damage, which if I believe my numbers are right, damage might be Minus Tempo.
We are about to win this down in a few short moments here at the battle data in terms of damage. Yeah, if that was really the scenario, if it was actually tied, we would be looking at the damage for the first time throughout the whole series.
Damage. It would have been Minus Tempo. Minus Tempo would have won.
Oh yeah, it was Minus Tempo.
So close, yeah. And it was all because MYPH got that last score, that last volleyball hitting the ground. Oh, what a close game, Flavor.
Oh yeah, this was definitely one of the good ones in the books here between team. Kudos to MYPH making it to grand finals, but of course, shout out here to Minus Tempo. Great gameplays here in this tournament for Electrode Volleyball here in Pokemon Unite. Danny, that was quite a match.
Look, who would have thought that Cinderace would be a key Pokemon in this particular set? I mean, I kind of did look at Cinderace and I thought, this is a pretty good Pokemon. I feel like it would do really well up against that Buzzball Dragonite combo, and it really did, especially because of the feint, because a lot of the time they really struggled to catch the Cinderace. It was just too elusive. And the fact that it was just too elusive, they, like on the other side, you had to make the decision, do we waste time trying to chase down the Cinderace, Or do we have to get rid of his teammates first and then isolate him and then finish him off that way? It was really tough, trying to make that right call. But look, what's done is done, okay? What's done is done. It doesn't matter. We have our finalists. We have our teams ready to lock in for third place as well. And we're not done yet. We've still got some more exciting games coming up.
Yeah, that is true. And trust me when I see this, that is not going to be the last on some of the surprising Pokémons being drafted here for Electrode Volleyball. I do believe we might just be seeing more coming up very, very soon. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, after the conclusion of the semifinals 2 in between MYPH and Tempo with a score of 2-1, the updated bracket are as follows. We will be having in the third place playoff in between Noble Assassin up against Tempo once again. And of course, in the grand finale, the creme de la creme will be between Yonip up against MYPH. And thank you, Danny, for pointing out when you called in earlier on that Yonip actually, if in the reverse, is actually not. If that was true, meaning it's a Malaysia Philippines versus Philippines.
I said that at the beginning of the podcast.
No, you did. I didn't realize until you called it. So I was like, I didn't realize.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't realize it. So I was like, it makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. All right, folks. So we've finished our semi-final rounds. We're up to our final and our third place matchup. Now, we did get an update from our production team, and previously we were not going to broadcast the third place matchup, but we are actually going to be able to slip that into the broadcast because we are on schedule.
Yep, that is true. And of course, which means there's going to be more Pokémon Night Electrode Volleyball for all the trainers out there, including us here at the commentary desk to win this. So get hyped, get excited, ladies and gentlemen, because there's more coming up. And speaking of coming up, Danny, who do we have next?
So, as you can see on our screen, we have Noble Assassins playing up against Tempo. This is going to be our third place decider match. Winner of this will be our third place team for the entirety of our Electrode Volleyball World Tour APAC West. Okay, APAC West. Okay, not the entire world. I know it's a world tour, but we're traveling around the world. Okay?
It is a world tour, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
Close enough. A small portion of the world. The best portion, APAC West. So speaking of moving along though, so yeah, this is going to be for third place. It can either be Noble Assassin or Tempo. If I was to look at these two teams, I'd probably say Tempo is probably the favorite to win this. But not to say that Noble Assassin don't have an opportunity to win this set themselves. Like, they definitely have a chance. They are going to have to take everything that they have probably watched in that previous game and apply that knowledge to their draft, because Tempo, they're too comfortable on that Dragonite Buzzwole set, right? Like, they're too comfortable. They really know how to play it. So I don't know if Noble Assassin can suddenly adopt MYPH's playstyle. I think it might be too niche, unless you have a Gold Ribbon Goodra on your lineup. Don't know if I could really recommend playing that Pokemon unless you do have that Gold Ribbon. So I kind of wonder what their answer
It worked
would
for
be
two
to
games
this.
in a row, yeah.
Yeah. The Goodra, I think, definitely played a part, especially once you started to see Dragods and KYY, Dragods and Luna playing really deep on the enemy side, because I feel like that's the key to that combo, like that duo. You start to farm the enemy team once they start getting knocked out, because they come back one by one, they're fighting 2 versus 2, and there are very few combos, I feel like, that can actually convincingly beat Buzzwole Dragonite in a 2v2. So, Noble Assassins, I hope you have a strat. You're gonna need it.
Yeah, slow and steady is the way of the here. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the third and fourth placing match, where this will become in fifth place and the other will become in fourth. Team Noble Assassin from semifinals 1 and Team Tempo from semifinals 2. Over here, Tempo still hot from the Elven, still have not had the option to cool down from the match earlier on up against MYPH. Will that serve as an advantage, as an edge for them here in this match, as Noble Assassin has already had the option to watch what Tempo had to offer in that recent semifinals match. And the drafters as follows here: Cinder Ace, Tyranitar. We have Snorlax here on the Noble Assassin side, kind of like against the Snorlax, Blaziken, and Cinder Ace. You're looking at 3 blazing fire Pokemons here in this total draft from top to bottom.
Okay, so interesting choice of Pokemon for minus tempo. I don't think in like any universe I would have expected Blaziken and Cinderace to be on the same team, but you know, clearly there has to be something going on for them to go for this combo. And also went for a bit of a role swap as well, right? Because Dragons is the one playing the Snorlax this time, and Kurov is actually the one playing the Cinderace. So kind of keen to see how this is going to work out. They're doing the same combo again, having their attackers fighting far forward. But unfortunately, Blaziken and Cinderace, between the two of them, they're more damage-oriented rather than survivability. And you can already see, right, Noble Assassins, they actually had the assets ready to deal with that duo.
Yeah, so the thing about Electrode Volleyball is that if you put in a lot of pressure, it'll get knocked out on the opponent's side of the field. You still have somewhat enough time to recover back and get back in position into the fray from your side of the field over here. Now, good thing spotting out here, Danny, is that different players are playing different mons over here, as we're looking at Dragons here from Dragonite shifting to Snorlax. Of course, at the top, it's a battle of trade-off and firepower here.
They're knocked out! They're knocked out! No one came back in time!
Tyranitar did, but he wasn't in position. Like, he just got back.
He just got back, yeah. So I guess the role here for minus tempo, just completely overwhelm Noble Assassin. Just take them out with all the damage coming up from your attackers. Now you can see KS, he's mad. Pops the Unite as well to slowly cut into these Pokemon's health bars. Kurov super low will go down, I believe, to the Sandstorm there. So both Blaziken and Cinderace are gone. This just leaves the Snorlax Dragons holding the fort thanks to his Unite move. So they're still in the game. But man, Noble Assassins, they are hitting back.
Oh, wow. That's a great unite here, especially when you have 3 of the mons over your side. So Noble Assassin going up towards your side. There's no way they can actually go in for the sports over here. In the big down back again. Here, remember, minus Sapphire is currently in the lead here with 1 coin.
Are they being overwhelmed yet again? Have a look at this. It's just Tyranitar. Snorlax has just come back. There goes the Tyranitar again. They can't defend because the Cinderace and Blaziken are farming them on their side of the map. So minus tempo, they've changed their playstyle, but they're really back to their dirty tricks, which is just farming the enemy team on their side of the map.
Oh yeah, they're looking for knockouts over here. Objectives, that's not the plan. Objectives are secondary over here. We are gonna go straight to going for the knockouts here. A lot of firepower, lacking in terms of sustain, but their positioning is to be very crucial over here. Meanwhile, Tyranitar here on front lines, trying to put on a pressure to both the Snorlax and the Cinder Ace, and that's going to be enough to actually get him a knockout, but Snorlax should be able to hold this fort on his own over here by Dragons.
Yeah, so you can see, right, KS on that Tyranitar, he's trying to sit on top of Dragons so that he at least alleviates some of the pressure from his team. And the Dark Pulse is also threatening Kurov because remember with the Dark Pulse, you can get stunned by that, I believe, if your health is below half. And this is a Cinderace we're talking about, so very low health Pokemon. This Electrode is starting to fly very fast as well. Noble Assassin, they have to figure out a way to score 2 points before the clock ends because we've got less than 2 minutes to go and with no points on the board.
Yeah, they are running through. Offense is definitely the best. Defensive Cinder is whenever he's down in terms of health, just go back, try to back, and still sustains all of that, still surviving. And of course, a little bit of regeneration over here as the Electrode actually bounces over on the goalpost. As usual, very, very close one. And remember, right now there's so much Noble Assassins have to do, and that is definitely the opening they're looking for. Noble Assassins with the point, making it 1 against 2.
Finally, so now Noble Assassins, they've got a point on the board. They need at least 1 more to force a tie. But if we're going to have a look at KOs, I believe minus tempo are leading with those. So if you're Noble Assassin, you have to get 2 points within the next 1 minute. And that's a lot to ask for.
Yeah, exactly.
So they've got to find out how to do that flavor. They might have to bully minus tempo to their side of the map, and maybe just then, you know, maybe as a team, force everybody off of that, the Electrode spots.
Yep, not just that. Look at the time, Danny. 45 seconds left over here. Trying to get 2 points in against such a stack here coming out from the side of minus tempo is not an easy feat. So minus tempo right now having quite an advantage on there and putting a lot of pressure. Even the Snorlax is low on HP as well. Couldn't do much over here as he might just possibly get knocked out. Look at that. and setting it over towards the other side by the Cinder Ace Blaziken. Just defense. That's the problems right now going on for the side of minus Tempo.
Running out of time here, Flavor. We've got 10 seconds to go in just a moment here. Unite going to be used as well. And that's it. Minus Tempo lock in their 3 points right as the game is about to end. Minus Tempo going to be leading our best of 3 with 1 point over Noble Assassins.
Oh, wow. That was... I mean, let's put it this way, right? Despite it looking like a very offensive draft coming out from minus Tempo, but the difference on knockouts is not that huge. You're looking at 11 for the side of Noble Assassin and 13 from minus Tempo. We're looking at the Cinder Ace, the Tyranitar up against the Blaziken and the Cinder Imp. But man, that was a lot of trade-off in between them. A lot of offense coming out from the side of minus Tempo. Although Noble Assassin did find an opening, but that was not enough to translate into a victory for them, as minus Tempo will be the first to get 3 Electrode points in Twisted Volleyball.
Yeah, so that's going to be the first point there for minus Tempo. They need at least 1 more win in this set to lock in 3rd place. But for Noble Assassins, they're going to have to win 2 games back-to-back if they want to swipe away that 3rd place medal from minus Tempo. Now, the thing is, that's going to be a pretty tough journey, I guess, right? Like, that's going to be a really tough journey. So how do you do that if you're Noble Assassins? Because their lineup, I feel like, in that last game was pretty good. You know, I think they had a really good chance in some of those situations when they were fighting, but they kind of, I think, lost the plot once they were locked into that 1-2 score line, because you could see they were trying to get the, you know, they were trying to separate Tempo, but they would never be able to separate them enough so that they could actually get that final score. And even if they did, they were behind in knockouts.
Oh yeah, and that was not easy. I think there's a lot of pressure they have to deal with over there. It's not just equalizing, but time. Then looking at it in less than a minute, trying to get 2 points over is not easy. Now, I want to give a big shout out here to minus Tempo, right? Running that Cinder Ace Blaziken, a dual attacker like that, and Linus Flores being the only defender, I think it's very different compared to the other drafts we've seen so far, right? But it works wonders, putting up a lot of pressure over on the other side, meaning that knockout and then score. Yeah. Sounds pretty easy. I kind of
wonder, okay, if you were the Assassins, how would you try to adopt Tempo's play style? Because I kind of feel like, right, like Tempo at the moment, we've seen them a few times like kind of run over and take over the game by taking over Assassin's side. How would you kind of pull it like a 180 here and you be the ones to actually start farming Tempo's side of the map? Because I feel like right now Tempo's been allowed to play the way that they want to play, right? They want to play hyper aggressive. They want to have their goalkeepers kind of like just sit back, watch the team. I think you have to take that game in your own hands. Like, you've got to do something. And is Mega Charizard why the Pokemon to do this for you?
I think on top of all that as well, one of the biggest troubles is that the amount of flexibility that minus Tempo has in the kind of draft that they bring is not just about the variable of Pokemons, but the variable of compositions in the draft that they bring from the first round all the way up to this point of the competitions is insane. I mean, like, you can prepare yourself for the draft they brought from K number 1 just now, but that's not really enough. They might just switch it up over here. So instead, this time, they have not locked in anything. This locked in Snorlax, and they might just be running the same draft again. It is going to be that Cinder Ace Blaziken, as it has worked in that game number 1, but we might see some fire being put out over here. It's going to be an Intellion from the other side. Together with the Buzzwole and the Machamp.
I don't think this game is going to play out the way it did in that last game, because Noble Assassin's lineup, I do feel like they've got 2 Pokemon that can really deal with a Blaziken Cinderace combo, unless they just pop the Inteleon like that. You know, that's just pop him, you know, just grab him. Because the thing is, like Buzzwole and Marchand, great thing about these two Pokemon, you've got hard lockdown with these, but the thing is you need the Inteleon to do the damage, otherwise the Cinderace and Blaziken just runs on top of you. There goes the Inteleon again, and the Buzzwoles all alone will be the one to have to not only fend off a Pokemon, but also has to be there to catch the Electrode.
That is already a 3-1 knockout trade-off here. More towards the side of minus tempo already. That is how aggressive the Cinderace and Basket but of course the first one, I believe that Cinderace, the Inteleon is a little bit off position here towards middle, so no one's actually providing any form of cover, so getting caught means big trouble for them. But remember, we're already 1 minute down, 4 more minutes to go. Score is still 0-0. Can they make this work with this Inteleon, Buzzwole, and Machamp come here for this game? Inteleon down once again here. Danny does not look very promising here for the side of Noble Assassin.
Just so much damage coming out from the Blaziken and the Cinderace. And, you know, Noble Assassins, even though they have the stuns, they just don't have the follow-up, because if it's not the Buzzwole and the Marchand that's down, it's the Inteleon. And without the Inteleon, they just don't have that raw firepower to get rid of Eluna and that Cinderace. And like, the funny part is, like, Dragons doesn't even need to be there. He's just sitting, chilling on his side of the map. He's like, all right, guys, I got the Electrode. You got this.
Yeah.
It's crazy to see that these two Pokemon absolutely ripping Noble Assassins to shreds.
Oh yeah, I tried to go for a little bit of cash on that Cinderace. He was trying to go for a recovery, but did not make it in time. So yeah, still looking strong over here, the Machamp and Inteleon. Inteleon still has not found the opening that he is looking so far yet. Ooh, that was a very close one here from the Machamp. Dragons still looking pretty healthy from his side. Minus tempo, defense still looking pretty solid, but still no openings yet from Noble Assassin. What is the play here, Danny, that they're looking for?
I think they're just going to have to be very opportunistic, really, for Noble Assassins. They've got to get rid of both of the Blaziken and the Cinderace, and then from there, they have to tag team the Snorlax somehow. Because right now, Dragons is just under no threat, right? Like, he's just sitting far back. So Cinderace is gone. If they can get rid of Eluna right now, maybe this is the time that they can do something. Eluna's down, but Cinderace has just come back, and KS has to sit back to guard the Electrode. So it's really just the Buzzwole and Inteleon, but with the Buzzwole gone, Eevee is exposed. We'll be able to take out the Cinderace but will be taken out by the Blaziken in the process. And Eluna, unfortunately, unable to stop the Machamp thanks to the Seismic Slam. Unstoppable.
Oh yeah, and especially speaking of unstoppable as well right now, if you were to calculate the amount of trade-offs that they have, they are trying to trade this Inteleon together with the Cinderace or even the Blaziken, but I think it's leaning more towards the side of minus tempo, because the amount of knockouts so far that this Inteleon has experienced could be record-breaking in this whole tournament right now. Does not have the sustain, although he has slightly better mobility compared to what Cinderace and Blaziken has to offer, but it's not enough to put him in safety over here. Like the slight jump, Eevee making mistakes, Dragos once again pushing over to his other side. Machamp, no openings yet, and we're almost down to the last minute here. Danny, still no points. Electric points being scored.
No points. I mean, Noble Assassins, they are on the back foot, because if we look at knockouts, I think it's minus tempo that's leading. So really, for Noble Assassins, what can they do? They have to score 1 point and then defend their honor for the rest of the game. But so far, you can see minus tempo are not giving them any room to breathe. And both of these teams, both teams are looking very healthy, so we might be seeing a death push here from Noble Assassin sometime soon. Actually, Machamp is the first one to go. He's by himself, cross chops away, super low. Bear makes it in time, but doesn't get the feeling though. But we also have the Buzzwole super low looking for that. Look at the Unite from Curve coming in and knocks them both out at the same time. And with a lone Inteleon, that is it. Minus tempo lock in their points, and quite possibly lock in third place for the entire tournament.
Read it like a book. Danny, look at that, and it does not help that this Electrode Ball is floating so long in the air, not creating any openings. Not the point we're looking for. Noble Assassin is the one supposed to be for scoring for this, but it's going to be minus tempo, solidifying their victory here for this game. Number 2 here at the third place playoff with a score of 1-0. What a play. same draft, same execution, and of course back-to-back victories here for Minus Tempo.
Look, I don't think anyone's practiced playing up against a Cinderace Blaziken duo in this game mode, so if you're struggling, I don't blame you. This is a very, very unconventional lineup that we have seen the power of now, right? Like several rounds, we have seen the power of this duo. Unfortunate that we're not going to be seeing more of it, but I think good to know for future Electrode Volleyball tournaments, I guess.
Did make me wonder why Minus Tempo didn't run this in the semifinals match. They had to use this here at the third place match, right? Yeah, I think great Electrode Volleyball plays here, Danny, and I think everyone is well entertained and will probably try to pull this off later on inside the next Electrode Volleyball matches here. Yeah, so with that concludes the third place playoff. Congratulations here to Team Minus Tempo, and of course Noble Assassin, congratulations as well for making it to this point of the competition as they are placed fourth here for APAC West.
Congratulations to Minus Tempo. Now, folks, I think we're here for the grand finale. I think the match that we're all looking forward to the most. Probably going to be the craziest matchup, so get hyped for this because we're not going to have a break. We're going right into our grand final matchup. We're going to find out who is going to be our champion for APAC West for the Electrode Volleyball World Tour. Very exciting times because we have two really strong teams in that grand final.
Oh yeah, no breaks here, Daddy, because we're going to get straight into all the action.
What's a break?
Who needs a break? Come on, man. Great call by the production team on this, because I think that all the things I can't wait to jump into witnessing what will transpire here in this best of 3 series, and not only grand final, but this will be the final series of this APAC West tournament here for the Electrode Volleyball in Pokemon Unite. So get hyped and get excited, ladies and gentlemen, because out of these two teams, one will be crowned the winner and champion, and the other in second place over here.
Yep. So if you're wondering who landed in our grand final matchup, it is Yonip versus MYPH. It's a best of 3 final, and we're going the full distance of this grand final. I kind of think we're going to get games here, Flavor. I don't think these teams are going to hold back at all. It's going to be it's going to be spicy.
I think the trainers who's watching this grand finals don't mind a game 3 at all. They want to see some good Pokemon Unite matchups. They want to see some good draft. We want to see some good drafts and good plays over here in between these two teams. Will it be Yonip or will it be MYPH? Now, can I secretly say that assume that MYPH will be Malaysia, Philippines in this context, or should we just keep it like it's MYPH on it?
You mean like verbally saying the name?
Yeah, I mean, like we just say like so. It's a full Philippine team versus with a combination of Malaysian and Philippines.
I wish I knew the composition of players of MYPH, because it could just be my Philippines too, like not MY from Malaysia, but just like I own.
Yeah, if you guys know more about this, drop. Just drop it in the comments.
I think there is a Malaysian player, but I didn't get to see the team list for all the teams, unfortunately, so I can't guarantee who's who. I wanted to see the list, but we ran out of time today, so we're kind of flying through things with the Electrode.
Yeah, that is true. Though, of course, I do hope probably they might just get slightly inspired by the third and fourth placing match just now from what we saw from Minus Tempo, and who knows, they might just have their own fair share of new ideas on what they want to bring into the table here for this grand final match, which is a good thing. We never dismiss creative ideas, especially like for Daddy. I'm very sure she has some ideas in mind of what she wants to play later on in Electrode Volleyball in Pokemon Unite, so be on the watch out for that. She can get pretty sneaky.
I don't want to talk about my gameplays right now. I want to focus on the teams, because what I can do, it's nothing. It doesn't even hold a candle to our finalists. I wish though, in my brain, visually in my brain, I can do some things up here, but physically, mechanically, real lifely, no. Not
somehow
really.
Whatever is projected, like what do we have in mind is not
harmless,
projected and reflected in the actual game itself. Yeah, but you're right.
I'm kind of excited for Yonip and MyPH, because I do think this is where we're going to be seeing the aces, because we did get to interview Lance, right, from Yonip, and he did say that Tinkaton is a very good Pokemon for this mode, and we haven't seen this team play Tinkaton yet, so I don't know if they want to. I mean, if it's as good as they say it is, I'm kind of expecting to see it now.
I don't
but
know.
I didn't think to expect a Sizzle. Oh, hello. What is this old defender lineup coming in from MYPH? Okay, no, hang on. Purple versus green. Purple versus green. Purple versus green. Oh my gosh, it's really purple versus green.
Oh yeah. Well, let's have let's have defenders up against the all-rounders here. Okay.
So does that mean next round attackers versus support?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's go speedsters. Supports.
Yeah. Interesting choice of Pokemon. I don't know what to expect from a Sizzle. I can see Sizzle being a nuisance, really. Right? Like, that's a Pokemon that kind of wants to be in the middle of the fight. And defenders aren't really the best thing to deal with the Sizzle unless it's a fighter. But based off of items, I'm pretty sure it's a Sizzle. Yeah, this is a Sizzle.
Yeah, it is a Sizzle, yes.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Time to see how this plays out, because I have to say, interesting lineup from both of these teams.
Yeah, I like how MYPH is still running, and the stick to the guns over here. Gudra has worked for them in the semifinals, so running it again makes perfect sense over here. So the Buzzwole, the Scizor, and the Machamp would be the ones who's going to be experiencing all the struggle if you go up against the Gudra over here. You pattern up together as well. But something different this time about is that what we didn't see from before is the slow bro plate over here. So probably telekinesis. But that is the opening here for Yonip to go in for a score, making it 1-0 here, Danny.
Yep, so first point going to Yonip. Just the difference already we can see between these two teams, the nuisance that this Sizzle is. And you can see MYPH, they have nothing to deal with the Sizzle. Like, he's just there getting free damage, he's constantly healing back. There's nothing really that's threatening the Sizzle. And this is going to prove pretty problematic too for MYPH, because that means the Sizzle is just going to be sitting on top of your Pokemon. They're never going to have any room to breathe. So what do you really do?
Yeah, this is a lot of pressure with no clear answer to the whole question of things here, but we would really have to see. Now, we will expect solid defense here, especially when you're looking at this draft from MYPH, but instead, Yonip did manage to find an opening, pushing it and forcing their way in and getting this point. Now, will MYPH be able to get 1 point of their own here before the timer finishes to make an equalizer? But even if that, let's put it into perspective, Danny. We did talk about this. If we're looking at the draft, right, there's a very high chance that Yonip's going to be the one coming out on top in terms of damage, which means that the MYPH needs to come out on top in terms of score, not a tie, at least a 1 point up above Yonip.
Yeah, so I kind of can't really see MYPH being able to stabilize unless they're able to somehow get 2 points in the next 2.5 minutes. But the problem is, like, we can't even see them knock out the Sizzle, right? Like, the Sizzle has free reign in this fight. It's just constant. Again, I said this before, it's constantly healing, it's being a nuisance. So it's up to MYPH to make something happen, whether it be to challenge Lance and hopefully to be able to pull him off and maybe get that free score. Or, I mean, I don't see defenders being able to knock out this team, so they can't even go for like a full team wipe.
Yeah, so I think a strong push them away again. And speaking of which, that is going to be point number 2 here for Yonip, which means MYPH has to make it a reverse sweep over to bag in this game number 1. And looking at the time, we only have 2 more minutes left here on the clock before this game number 1 actually ends. Will they be able to actually find the opening, which they have not yet discovered thus far at this point?
Oh, there we go. There goes the slow bro. So Yonip slowly cutting into MYPH's numbers, and with just 2 Pokemon, that could be problematic. And actually, they get the final 3rd point. So Yonip take game 1 in our grand final best of 3. Now this puts MYPH on the back foot, because for this team to win the grand final, they will have to win 2 games back to back up against Yonip.
Yeah, and it doesn't help knowing that the draft that somewhat, at least 150% of the draft that they brought forward in the semifinals did not manage them to translate it into a victory. And furthermore, they were not able to get a single electric points here in this game number 1. So they do have their back against the wall here, Danny. What would be their approach here in the next game? But before we talk a little bit more about that, ladies and gentlemen, we're also going through the data that we have here. So as mentioned before, of course, it's reflected the amount of damage dealt by Yonip is definitely more than what MYPH has to offer, which means that with this kind of draft, the all-rounders up against the defenders, MYPH does not have a choice. They must have more electric points over than their opponents here if they want to win. No ties.
Right, I'm expecting some big changes here for MYPH because the idea of an all-defender lineup, I mean, it's cute, you know, you got a little matching lineup, but yeah, I think we're already seeing the biggest weakness of an all-defenders lineup, which is just lack of damage. And so certain Pokemon such as Sizzle just thrive going up against all-defenders. So moving forward, I would like to see a lot more firepower coming out from MYPH's lineup. I want something agile. I want something that can slip into the back line. Obviously, we still need displacement. So like Snorlax, I think, is still going to be a mandatory pick for the team, for example. They need somebody with some kind of unstoppable as well to sort of guarantee that they have someone always standing on the electrode landing point. But damage is really, I think, where the team is currently lacking.
Yeah.
But what can they really pick to fix all the problems? Like, I don't think it's a case of like you just swap in one Pokemon and that's it, everything's fixed. I think they kind of have to redo the entire lineup, which is don't just do all defenders, pick Snorlax or pick a defender you're happy with and build around that defender. Make sure you've got your damage and make sure you decide if you want to go for more damage or if you want to have utility to support your damage.
Yeah, and then I think we also missed out on saying that I forgot the last time I actually saw them coming over towards the other side of the map to actually go into offensive a little bit scoring because they've already got their hands full just to defend against whatever their opponents have to offer over here. Like, a big overhaul is needed. Whatever they have, not saying it's not good, but it's not working towards what their opponents are bringing to the table over here, which requires overhaul to happen. We're looking at all-rounders over here. It strikes for the balance. You get sustain, you do have quite a lot of HP, not as much as what the defenders have to offer, but they do have to compensate. They do have better offensive power at the same time as well. Like you mentioned, Danny, the displacements are better as well. You can break open the defenses at the same time as well, creating those cracks and openings to go in for the scorings. Honestly, I don't know what kind of overhaul they're going to go with. They could go with a more balanced composition in the draft for game number 2, or they probably have a different approach altogether from their end. Yeah.
I was super on board with Blissey Cinderace, something that we saw earlier today. Hang on, let me double check who ran that. It was, give me a second. Who was it that ran Blissey Cinderace? I think it was Eternal Spot. No, HGA. It was HGA who ran the Blissey Cinderace. And the Blissey would be the one to sit back to get the scores and would have Safeguard for itself and Cinderace. And that's hello, Galarian Rapidash. Hi, haven't seen you at all today. But that's new. Okay.
Is this the time?
Okay. And Garchomp? Hello, nice to meet you too. Wow, new Pokemon in the grand final.
It's either they are, here's the thing, right? I assume that they're bringing a different kind of draft altogether because maybe MYPH has their hands full trying to adapt towards the previous draft. So by the time they're getting ready for that, Yonip just surprises them with this instead. So the Garchomp, the Galarian Rapidash here into the mix. MYPH is still sticking with the Gudra and the Snorlax, and they're bringing back the Cinderace here for this draft, guys.
Now, I'm glad they're bringing back Cinderace because I do think this is such a good Pokemon. It's been really performing in our matches for today. Galarian Rapidash could be a bit of an X factor because we haven't seen this Pokemon at all today. Pros and cons, very agile, very quick, and quickly traverse the map. Can come in and do chip damage. The only thing is it's fragile as heck. So if you're in the wrong place, wrong time, we've got a free score because Yonip decided that they wanted to fight on the enemy side of the map instead of trying to grab their goals, which beautiful block coming in from the Snorlax, pushing Yonip off.
Yeah, and of course, it adds on even better for MYPH because they are like a fortress here with the Gudra, with the Snorlax. There's two strong defenders and goalkeepers for their side, and having the Cinder Ace. And just speaking of Cinder Ace, is actually knocked out over here. We'll be back.
Oh,
Look at that! Look at that!
The Dragon Rush! That was beautiful!
Oh, that was insane! Pushing out two of them towards the other side and scoring out for themselves a quick equalizer here, Danny.
Beautiful equalizer. Glaring Rapid actually thankfully is able to get on top of that Electrode. Livid Outrage going to be used as well. Almost gets a full connection onto the Cinderace, but Cinderace is able to just slip away. But no, will finally go down. KYY running for his life, running away from Flatty on that Snorlax. And now Isolated, we're going to probably be losing the Snorlax here. Uses the block to build up the shield. Jellybee's going to be there to catch the Electrode with his teammate. There goes the defender though. And MYPH going to be a little exposed. But no, they don't even manage to grab that point because of the, again, Garchomp's Dragon Rush pushing them away.
Oh wow, it worked once, it worked twice, Danny, and they should be wary of this Garchomp, putting so much impact, keeping them at bay here and doing wonders. So they are being extra careful in terms of positioning to ensure even if one get pushed out, not the other, or not the full stack of it. Look at this. So all of them are out, but
Livid Outrage.
yeah, the Snorlax is still there.
So Cinderace is gone, almost catching out the Gudra. Will thankfully be able to get the heals in there and the Unite. Lance's still going to be able to get the Electrode, but for the rest of the team, that is it! Yonip win the set, win the grand final, and will be our first ever Electrode Volleyball World Tour APAC West champion.
Shoutouts here to Yonip for spectacular gameplay here from Murasaki Bar here on that Garchomp, Danny. Look at that play. It worked wonders for them, making quick work here at this game number 2 up against MYPH in the grand finals. And the final score is 3-1 in this game number 2, making it a 2-0 victory in this best of 3 series. So once again, congratulations to Yonip. They really kept their ace card here until the end, Danny. Who knew that they still had a lot more to offer here in this tournament up until the end?
Look at the damage on Mora. Mora scored 110k damage, and the game didn't even go for very long. I think we had maybe 2 minutes at most.
Yes.
So insane plays by the Garchomp to not only dish out and threaten so much damage, but also be able to score those 2 points for the team because of 2 clutch Dragon Rushes. So clearly this was an ace pick that Yonip had up their sleeve. They were ready to save it for the grand final, and it just executed beautifully.
Oh yeah, that was very sneaky here from the team Murasaki Bara, keeping at the end, making it hard for the opponents to actually anticipate and, you know, deal with this because they have not seen something like this happening itself. And it's not just that, it's not just about the draft as well. The execution would not be possible without great comms, with the proper timing. Murasaki Bara really bringing the A game here for himself and the full team towards the victory. But of course, big shout out here to everybody's MYPH. Still, you guys did well making it towards the grand finals. They are your second place here at the 2009 Electrode Volleyball World Tour for APAC West.
So here's our final bracket for today's matches. So starting off in round 1, we did have Yonip go to the semi-final match because unfortunately their opponent was not able to check in time this morning. Noble Assassin won our second match of the day up against Eternal Sparkle 2-0. MYPH won their first map against HGA 2-1. And then for Minus Tempo, they scored a 2-0 win over their first opponent against Sue in volleyball. For semi-finals, Yonip won their set 2-1 against Noble Assassin, whereas MYPH won their set against Minus Tempo 2-1. Down to our third place playoff match, we had Minus Tempo locking in third place today with a 2-0 win over Noble Assassin. And to wrap things up today for our grand final, Yonip are our champions for today, beating MYPH with a 2-0 scoreline.
What a day it has been, Danny. Loads of Electrode Volleyball action here today from start to finish. And of course, we are being treated with such an amazing draft, amazing gameplay here by our champions here from Yonip, from Nemesis KYY, Ross Kibara, and Lance here, our trainers here for Team Yonip.
Yeah, we're quite lucky because we got to hear a little bit of Lance before we started the broadcast for today. So, I think that man had a little bit of pixie dust on him, that little bit of extra luck, especially with how excited he was to jump into today's matches as well. Like, he's really enjoying it. I'm pretty sure his teammates are enjoying it as well. But man, what a day it's been today, Flavor. Like, this is a completely new approach to Pokemon Unite. If you've never seen a normal game of Pokemon Unite before, this is a side game mode that you can play in the game. So if you haven't tried it, go try it out. It's not just about fighting. It's about making sure that your team is able to get that Electrode Volleyball onto the enemy side of the map.
Yeah, and I believe that everyone has had an enjoyable time together, learn some new tips and tricks on how they can win their next Electro Volleyball matches over here, and can't wait to get into the game and actually try it out for themselves. Or maybe if you guys have your own creative ways on trying to win it in a much more sneakier or even creative way, do share it together with us in the comment section. Share it out with your friends and families, even with other trainers, including ourselves. We would love to actually hear more coming from you guys coming here.
Yeah, and I also want to let you all know as well, we're not joking when we say it's a world tour. Today was just APAC West. We do have other regions that are going to be coming in play as well. Total regions, we have some of them I don't know how to pronounce. We do have Latam. We have, I believe, North America next week. We have APAC East. We have Europe South. And then we have another Europe region. It's Europe F. I don't know what Europe F stands for. So if anyone knows what that's supposed to mean, let us know. But we do have plenty of other regions coming into play. So if you want to watch some of the other regions, they're going to be playing their matches in the coming weeks. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you keep an eye out, because every region, different Pokemon, different players. You might see some of your favorite players for the world stage actually play on some of these volleyball teams.
Oh yes, most definitely. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to actually continue in supporting our champion as well in the upcoming ones as well. Now, there's so much transpiring over here. What you're looking at here is only the tip of the iceberg. We could be bathing in just a speck of other strats and strategies that the Electro Volleyball has to offer here in the world. So get happen inside it, and be sure to jump into all the fun if you have not. But if you already have, do continue on, because this mode is just amazing. I don't know, you might just see me and Danny just doing some, I wouldn't say creative, but we'll try.
Creative.
We will call it creative. Yeah, and creative, a lot of epic fails going on. Yeah.
Yes. Well, at least epic fails are kind of fun, We like to win too, so we'll try and win, but we can't guarantee any victories. But yeah, Electro Volleyball, again, like I said, if you haven't tried it before, definitely give it a go. It's a fun game mode. You don't have to take it seriously. You can actually play a pretty wide variety of Pokemon in this game mode. It's just that, obviously, with all games, there are certain Pokemon that are going to have a slight advantage in certain situations. So there are probably going to be cases where you're going to have to kind of adapt your playstyle if you do play certain Pokemon in Electro Volleyball. But I do feel like there's just a lot that you can do in this game mode, because, again, it's not a serious game mode. Just have fun, okay? That's the whole point of playing a video game. We're here to have fun, okay? It's not always about winning.
But most of the time, winning feels good too. And
it does feel good. Yeah,
it does feel good. It does feel good. Yeah, but enjoy yourself. Be flexible. You can try and experiment with a different kind of play style. Jump in the lobby together with your friends and family, so you can have better communications in how you want to execute your play styles, your strategies there better. If not, you're gonna have a hard time where people can't mind read what exactly you wanna execute here in the game, right? But yeah, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the APAC West Pokemon Unite Electrode Volleyball gameplay here. Some of the best of the best of the best that APAC West trainers has to offer, and we do hope that everyone has enjoyed their time together with us here in witnessing all this great gameplays. Do share with us some of the great things that you have witnessed, or maybe some things that you did saw outside of the tournament. We would love to actually hear them as well. And Danny, I believe that we reached to the end of today's show. Quite unfortunate. First, any last words you want to share all together with our trainers out there before we close our show?
Yeah, I can feel the blessing coming in from Yonip. It's in my face, so I do apologize if we're looking a little bright. Okay, this is like the champion's glow. But congratulations to Yonip, our champions, first ever champions for APAC West Electrode Volleyball. Hopefully this is something that's going to happen again next year because it was super fun. And I do hope we get more teams entering to compete because I would love to see some more players from our World Championship teams actually competing, and maybe we can actually have some really, really crazy, wacky World Championship level games. But that's going to be a dream for next year. Hopefully have some more, but that's going to be it for us today, Pokemon trainers. We'll see you next time. Bye.